I always change my inputs and I switch scenes. Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So we're going to be going through the first two panels of CitizenCon. Hello, Axis, some pasta. Hello, hello. After the CitizenCon, Star Trek on. I'm incredibly encouraged. It was definitely more positive than negative. And then hello, everyone. Yeah, I really liked it, and I think it was exactly what it needed to be in every capacity. Like, it showed the right tech, it had the right devs. Everyone was super hyped. It did not fail to capture the hype that everyone had for it. The only thing that people are calling foul on are haters of the game that say that we won't get any other thing anytime soon. It's all pipe dream, it's all tech demos, and it's, time will tell. Like, you can't argue that. You just have to let it come out and just prove them wrong. Super cool though. And we're already adding to the hype, adding updates, correlating with what people want. In 3 months, yeah. Yep. We are already getting things we've seen. Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff. Like, there's some stuff coming into 3.21.1. There's a couple things. There's all the environmental stuff, and we'll be going through it. Like, a lot of the environmental stuff is in the first panel. And all the planetary stuff is coming into 3.21. AI stuff we just learned from the monthly report. It's coming into 3.22 as well. We got the SRV coming in. We have the C1 coming into 21. With tractor beams coming into 21. Yeah, I think we have a lot more. Music is a bit loud. Interesting. We have a lot more stuff that will be announced for coming out for 321. We also have the replication layer split that is yet to start up, but I assume we'll be starting off pretty soon after 3.21.1 goes live. All right, but without further ado, let us start into the panel. Let's see if we can find the correct desktop. There we go. The correct script scene. So we're going to start off, like, this is going to be a very, what is it called? Not precise, and we're going to be stopping every couple seconds probably to get like ideas and to talk and things. So if you were looking for a concise media about these panels or an overview or something like that, this is not it. This is mostly just me rambling because I can't make videos about it because I'm too bad at making videos. Basically, I tried to make a video. Actually, yeah, it's not up there yet. It stressed me out so much. And I'm seeing like all these other creators like do reviews and overviews and things of all the panels. So I just wanted to, like, maybe we'll just do that. Maybe we'll just do a stream and we'll go over them and we'll talk about them. I've been doing that anyway in my my normal streams. So might as well just take the couple of streams it'll take, 1 or 2 panels per stream, and we'll just go through them and talk about them with you guys, because you guys add way more than I do to this conversation. So kind of just a focal point that we can all talk about it. So that should be good. So we're gonna start off with the beginning of the beginning. Oh wait, no, we're not, because we're gonna actually go and we're gonna look up the actual demo because they don't like to show it. Where are we at here? That's CitizenCon 2. This is CitizenCon 1. So we are gonna start with the actual start of CitizenCon because I want to. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. So we're gonna actually start with the StarEngine trailer. Oh, thank you, Mr. Knight. No, Stream Elements now is telling me that I've gone streaming. Thank you so much. All right, here we are. So let's talk about, or let's show this, and then we will actually switch back over to YouTube because it's higher quality. They're working on getting this demo out. Not demo, but this StarEngine trailer video. Except they're updating it. So it'll be better, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, should be fun. Should be awesome amounts of fun. Everything you're about to see has been captured in the engine as one continuous shot without load screens. Distance between planets have been compressed for the sake of brevity. Which is hilarious because they quantum travel anyway. So this is, and they said it during the panel, so we'll hear them say it. I think it was during the panel, not in between panels. Anyway, this is a single spline with a camera on it, or a single camera path. So all the movements of the camera, a little serrated, so it's catching my hair, is end to end. There are no cuts, and there's no editing within this video. This is in-engine, captured in whole. They hit play, they walked away for half an hour. So it's quite good. In this part, I did not realize that was actually a Wing Commander reference. Well, I haven't played Wing Commander, so it would make sense. And we're going to start pausing pretty quickly here. Okay. So this people have been speculating about. Now, I'm not sure. Really quiet on YouTube. Not sure if I can help that or my bars are saying I'm very loud. I don't know how to fix that. YouTube says not YouTube. LBS says it's fine. So I don't know how to fix that. So I thought this was supposed to be like it's 3 planets, which now, okay, that does make sense, and a sun. People also said it'll be the 4 systems. So we got Pyro. But that was like the first one that came out. So it would have to be like Stanton, wouldn't it? And you got like, not in any particular order, Stanton, Magnus, and Nyx, or Castra. Who knows which one? I don't know how these could be anything. Like, they don't really relate to anything that I know of. Except for just really cool effects. Like, there's not a... Like, Pyro obviously is orange and fiery. But what's Stanton? Your voice volume is good, but the vid sounds low if that helps any. Ah, yes. That okay, I see. Yes. Got it. Blue. They also have different shapes to it's very strange. So I don't actually put any weight on this being anything except for just good like art. Stanton Pyro Magnus. Stanton Pyro Magnus, Stanton Pyro Nyx like the 4 there's Stanton Pyro Nyx, which are our first 3. And then that's the question mark at the end. Is it going to be Castra, Magnus, or Terra? Stanton is the yellow star like Soul. So, okay, so let's back it up a second. Let's see what order they come in as. Okay, so they're coming in red first. Blue. Magenta, and then green. Are we sure they're all stars? No. No, they're not all stars. This one doesn't have any central. It's just kind of blue nebula. That one has a star. Yeah. So, yeah, big yellow star, small green star, and then 2 nebula. Like a lot of people are trying to like attribute meaning to this. I just don't see any meaning. And as we zoom in, it zooms into Microtech, I believe. Yeah. Which is just going to like zoom past all of this. So like this almost doesn't have any bearing on anything. But I don't know any. Like that's obviously a fiery ball of sun, right? I don't like. So let's say Stanton Pyro, but what are these 2 nebula? Are these like Stanton Pyro and the other 2 are farther away, so we don't know. So they're both nebula, not really there. Nebulous, I don't know. The first one is a star, but the purple, but perhaps the others are not. Like maybe they represent only Stanton system formation. See, that's what like I'm not really sure. Like, there's no like nothing that fits perfectly. It's very strange. So, yeah, then we zoom past all of that. It fades off into oblivion, and we come to Stanton. Stanton's okay. Hold on. Yeah, it's not in the red one. It's not in the orange one. But this is Stanton right here. We have Hurston, Art Corp. That one's going to be Crusader, then Microtech, and the Stanton Sun. So, I got nothing. I think the first part is just the art for the Wing Commander reference. I'm not sure. Sleepless twin session from. They say that twice. Notice how they'll say that when we come out from the. It will say ground in space. Fully explorable without loads of cranes or batteries. So I thought it was very interesting and telling that like how much they're not developing the stations right now. Zero, like they don't even have a sentence saying like super large like hubs, player hubs or whatever. They say nothing about the stations. Zero. Physically based atmosphere with multiple light scattering. It could be a different system, but probably some distance from Stanton. But yeah, like it could be different planets, it could be different systems, it could be just facets of the game. I don't know, it could be like different developers. There's nothing that like obviously fits. And normally when you're referencing something like that, you're finding an obvious fit for it. And there's like 6 planets in Pyro, so that wouldn't fit either. Planet service generation on client and server at different levels of detail. Really sad we didn't see building interiors. But they did some like massive LED work for this video. I'm very shocked that we but we very infrequently see popping in. This is one of my like favorite camera shots. Now I don't know what physicalized frozen ocean means, except for you can drive on it. And it locks to it. I love it. I love the shot. Now hopefully this becomes a thing pretty soon here. We've been waiting for that for kind of some years. It'll be nice when we can actually have the NPCs running on trains. It's wild. Like, over the course of StarEngine, they talked about a lot of features that are coming in 4.0 in 12 months as well, or a little bit farther than 12 months. So, like, once we get back to StarEngine, there'll be basically a video like this with all new features. Hadrian Prime? Red chat, that... Yeah, could be. Okay, so they have this repair guide in the hallway, and they've showed in the resource management panel that stuff's gonna break. If doors break, do they stick open? And if so, can I purposely break the Crusader doors so they stick open? Is that a thing? Can we do that? No, there's some popping. I have no idea what that means. Real-time biome generation. I have no idea what that means. Other than you can change it in real time, but they don't demonstrate that at all. And I don't know if they've ever demonstrated that. Like, if we just like... Wow. This is Terra Firma. Wow, these images look way worse. Physics on demand. Seasons? No, that makes a lot of sense. What is with that crappy? Oh gosh. Real-time night cycles, true vegetation. Base textures. Blending temporal dithering. Smaller ecosystems and ArcCorp. Physically based approach, more ecosystem blending transition.
We decided to go for a more physically based approach. We wanted to improve on ecosystems blending and transitions, and now I'm handing over to Michel to give us an overview of V4.
Thank you, Marco. I hope this clicker holds up, because There seems to be some interference. So, like I said, I'm the lead artist on the organics team. Our team works with the Planet Tech tool day in, day out. All the planets you've seen so far have been created by the team in DE. So we had some thoughts and demands whenever we talk about tools and what we want to improve. So why V4? Let's go over some of this stuff. So why V4? Up until now, for a long time, our focus has been on moon landscapes. And although these are visually distinct from each other, they're essentially a single biome planetoid. One is desert, one is icy, one is a lunar landscape. But the biggest difference is actually like the type of assets that you see, the shapes and the terrain. Last year, when the team started to work on Hurston, we were actually confronted with our biggest challenge yet. Hurston is a very diverse planet in terms of what we've done so far. So we have dry wastelands, we had our mining pits.
3 years ago, 2019 this was.
We have hot acidic areas and even very lush green areas. So there's, on a single planet, we had to cover a lot of variety. And this clearly proved a challenge. So based on this experience working on Hurston, we started to think about, okay, what can we do to improve, where are our bottlenecks, and how can we proceed? So we wanted to make sure that we future-proof the technology, because up until now it's been Stanton, but we want to go somewhere, right? We want to go to other locations, and the only way to do it is to work faster, more efficient. So V4 is a fundamental change in how fast we can build planets. Keeping what worked well, reworking the things that slowed us down, and building a tool that's in-engine and is a very intuitive, artist-friendly tool to use. And we'll show some examples of that. Yes, all right, cool, seems to work.
That's about biome transition.
The vegetation, when you form, and these have a bit of a chat about the challenging prime we was making. All right, so this is a very unflattering look of Hurston. I turned off the atmosphere and some of the effects that usually go on top of this.
That sounds really cool, though.
What we usually do, or did before, was paint a global texture that sort of represents the different areas on a planet. So what we have here is on the pole. It's a bit desaturated, but that's where the savanna area meets the wasteland. And although it's not super crisp, it kind of gets the point across, especially with the effects layered on top of it. When you start flying closer to the surface, especially with all the effects turned off, you start to see where the global texture starts to fill, and you get this blurry look. The textures that are loaded locally for each patch of terrain, where each tile is not fully loaded in, and you hit this dead zone in between where it just looks a bit blurry, a bit muddy, and it's not really getting us the results that we saw on Google Earth. And then when you get even closer, you start to see the individual patches coming in. The texture of the biome becomes visible, and although up close this is a cool result, especially when you're walking in around it. These transitions, yeah, they can be quite hard. So what you see here is a few wasteland tiles meeting savanna tiles, and the artist and the art team had a really hard time just trying to alleviate these areas to get them as good as possible by creating additional tiles to sort of fit in between, and it became quite complex to set up and maintain, especially with more that we wanted to. Planets meant more individual files to maintain.
Oh boy.
They had to tweak. We all need to polish, to rethinking. The idea of a biome, temperature, and whether it's lush or dry, from the actual terrain shape. And by this, we could keep our terrain library clean, and we don't have to create additional color maps for every time we want to have a different color or a different type of terrain showing up. So that way, you can get large changes on a global scale. This is not Google Earth anymore. It's V4. And what we see here are natural transitions that occur globally due to gradual change in temperature, humidity, and weather conditions. And because these are occurring over a large scale, informed locally by the shape of the terrain, every area where it transitions or where a biome appears is informed by the shape of the terrain and is truly unique to that area. And we're no longer seeing a patch of dense savanna trees, and then next to it is the wasteland, and you sort of see that stuff repeat. It's a large-scale transition, and everything flows into each other. So we're no longer fixing a biome to a specific tile. And that way, across the surface of the entire globe, every area truly becomes unique. And this is an example of how extreme it could go with coloring, just as an example of some of the stuff you might see in the future. Just to reiterate another thing that we wanted to change actually is the blending, cross-fading, transitioning between areas. And on the one hand, on the left side, we see V3 zooming out. On the other side, we see V4. And bear in mind, so V4 is not, this one is not entirely done. We would like to paint a bit more, but we had to come up with an example. And what you see here is a seamless zoom out with no visual artifacts of things changing or fading or popping, whereas in V3 we still had a lot of transitions between all these layers of textures going on. And you can even see that at some point the V3 planet, if you zoom out far enough, this global texture kicks in. It's the only one that remains, and it might actually have a completely different color from where you actually started. I'm pretty sure people have experienced this as well. You see a spot on a planet, you want to go there because it looks cool. You go there and it's actually a very different color or experience that you expected. Whereas on V4, you can actually still make out the pattern, the exact terrain shape that we started with. And I think this is a big difference. Okay, let's. So those were the things that we really wanted to improve, and like I said,
do they say anything about
Planetech would update it every. It was the true test of how efficient this new Planetech would be and how efficient this tool would be. So I'm happy to confirm that the team has updated every single planet for 3.8 to V4, and it will be there. So just to get a bit of a start into the more technical areas, I just wanted to share a little bit what we do.
Do they have a before and after? Well, that's spacebar now work.
Inside your toolbox, and you just use. So we call every time we want to redo tasks. We had color maps to read everything else, humidity and temperature. That thing is, I think, close the transition. Desert, all maps, and temperature. So you can see in this one, let me just point where the flow.
It's also possible the biome generation is a new thing that they just haven't talked about yet. Yeah, well, I think it's what he's saying with the humidity, temperature. There was another one he said. And just being able to change those in real time changes the biomes. Do they change in real time? I don't know. Kind of like the orbits of the planets that they said is definitely possible. They can make the planets orbit right now. They don't have the game systems to allow for it, basically. Like the players will be up the creek if they turn on orbits because of quantum traveling, not knowing that the point's moving, so it will actually quantum you to the point you're going to, and then by the time you get there, like say if you're going from like Hurston to Microtech and you jump, you start the jump, but Microtech's moving, so you'll jump to where Microtech was, and they didn't have a system to predict where the planet's going to be yet. So I wonder if it's just kind of like that. They just don't have a system that needs moving biomes yet.
Flow maps where the water would flow, where water would accumulate.
Let's see, where are we at? Oh, that's loud. Oh, there's a pop there. In there. I don't know why every There we go. I don't know why every game engine and or game that has some form of cave is so proud of it. Like, okay, you hold no candle to Minecraft, so like, why is this such a? I've never understood why caves are such a special thing. Um, yeah, I don't get it. Like, but like every game or game engine that talked about it, like they're like, wow, we can make underground stuff now. Just like, yeah. Underground hard to do. Like I imagine, but when everyone else is doing it, like it's kind of expected of you. And I don't think it would make or break Star Citizen if it had or didn't. I want a narrow. I want a narrow cave and big cave tunnels. I have. Let's open up this thing. Oh god, it's on something fine. No, where's Venture Escape 2? Where's Venture Escape 2? So I have a notebook somewhere. That I don't know where it is right now because it decided to jump off a cliff. Where'd it go? Of a game I've been designing off and on for a while. And for some reason, it's not here. Why is it not here? That makes me worried. I don't know, all the other game engines ran off a cliff. Would StarEngine also run off a cliff? I mean, probably. If it seems the thing to do. Fine, we'll do it the other way. We'll do it the much less good way. I'm sure you all will love how this is going to turn out. And by love, I mean you're probably gonna hate this. Do I even have it split up, or is it just all in one place? Yeah, I think it's all in one place. I used to have it split up. Oh, there's a river one. I don't think I have one for. It's forests, mountains. CIPE. I don't have cave. Where's all my cave ones then? Is it just in the base one? No, they're just not existent for some reason. Fine. There's probably somewhere down at the bottom. So basically, I got a whole bunch of like references together for different like biome type landscapes. And a lot of them were caves with just massive, massive openings. Um, okay, well, we'll start here. But where's oh, I removed that. There we Something much more. Well, that's a small cave. It's a smaller cave. Something like just massive caves. Something much more like that. Just these absolute chasms. That's not even a cave. There you go. Giant ice cave. Something a lot like that would be nice. Where you're underground, maybe you're even under a lake or something, and you just can see for just kilometers in front of you. I think that would be wicked awesome. I also think that we're getting there. And I think we have their tech has a long way to go, or can go a long way. There we go. That's what we need. Whole Dwarven village. Like their cave work and their planet tech like has a long road that it can take forward because it's modular and it just got so many parameters that you can add on to. Okay, just making sure my notifications are important. Most of them aren't. Anyway.
Please welcome.
No, you can be quiet for a second. Where are we at? Here we are. I've never tried to build caves in a game or tried to build a game with caves, so I wouldn't know. Got to take all the stuff out of my pockets. And it's weird that they showed quite a cramped one. And you can't really tell on either of the entrances if the rock could actually just drive in or not, but now to me it looked like it couldn't. The one thing I did note is that is the only cave that we've ever seen with 2 entrances. At least that I know of. So it was interesting. Ground fog integrated into the atmospheric system. I definitely want to live here. It's the most impressive. I mean, this is going to be Microtech in 3 months. I really hope that this density is something that like is in the game or is going to be in the game. We all need to go find this place there where we want to stay. I mean, base building coming soon, so like not even joking a little bit, I want to find this place and this is where I will have my first like company wide, so like the org I run, Nova Forge Industries. This is where we're going to have our first base, is in this valley, right here. Fog is the weather condition. It's a product of moisture. I don't. We'll see. They'll talk about the ground fog specifically and see if they talk about being a weather condition. I get what you're saying though. Like yes, but I think they're using it more as an artistic overlay than a weather condition. I'd love to run a Fury or an Arrow down this corridor. They could definitely make it water droplets. No, God. Like, the effects that happen on ships now when you go over water, I think that'd be plenty. As they showed later on in Zizcon with the gliders flying over the water. That's fine. Like, the stuff that happens on the ship itself, not the water effects. Also, had a thought. Does the new damage system count for trees? Can we dynamically break trees? And if so, can we fall trees. Can we mine trees? I'd like to mine trees. I'd like trees. I'd like the ability to remove trees. Specifically in, like, land claims, at the very least. No, they didn't give us an idea when we're gonna get fauna. Dynamic ecosystem generation. A dynamic one. I wonder how exactly that presents itself. So when are we getting this guy? They didn't say. So we'll see when they talk about. They don't really talk about any creature specifically. They always mention flora and fauna, and we haven't seen these guys in a month report in a while. We know that the art teams or the animation team have been working on stuff and continue to work on stuff in the grass. Yes, in the October month report. Dynamic ecosystem, though. Generation for both flora and fauna. I wonder what that could mean. Like, what part of it's dynamic? Will, like, if Kazi grazers are in a spot and there's enough of them and they eat all the grass, does the grass go away and they have to go find pastures elsewhere? They're working on voids at the moment. Some teams are, but other teams have been working on creatures for a long time, specifically the animation teams. Well, the creature team and the animation team, they've both been hardening their pipelines for creatures. Just a random settlement. I wonder if those grazers are owned by the settlement. Just looks so good. Generation and rendering of volumetric clouds at a planetary scale. Seamless transition from ground to space. That's if we could get a scanner that could ID species of animals, flora, fauna, and weather. That's definitely coming. Not soon, but eventually. I would imagine that with science gameplay, at the latest. Get planetary persistent anchors. That is like nowhere what we're talking about, but yes. Yellow Crusader or Muda Crusader sent to stand. Persistent planets. Did we have persistent planets? And a persistent conversation, apparently. How many songs do they go through in this thing? I can't remember if this is the first or second song. Real day-night cycle based on planetary or planet rotation. Crusader, Stanton 2. Stanton. Volumetric cloud on a gas giant scale. Oh, thank you so much, Axis. Skyrim for 2 months in a row. Thank you so much. I don't know what you're talking about, Nightbot. What on earth? Thank you so much, Axis. It means a lot. Orison, floating cloud city of Crusader. Such a nice time to like view the city too. Nightbot's even disabled for Twitch, so like I don't even know what it's doing. I need to like reconfigure all of it. Did you say mute city? No. Not that I know of. Of course, space whales. I wonder how much of this gets in before the end of the year. And I kind of feel like it's a lot of it. Like, the biggest question is, do we get creatures by the end of the year? Honestly, large-scale creatures I think would be easier to make because easier to rig. Mega creatures than small creatures? Ah! It depends. Well, if you make a cow or a mega cow, you still have to rig the same bones, so. Water scale, volumetric cloudscaping. It's a big cloud with little clouds inside. See, I don't know what the rendering bug is here. All these little black blips. Very strange. Hello, Pyro Gateway Station. And the fact that they didn't talk about creatures is kind of leaning me towards probably not. I wonder what speed this is at. Now this is which station? Oh, warp tunnels aren't this dark. That looks like it's gonna be. That is the new effect, so a lot of stuff is dark and blue. Just says pyro. Wait. It's like at pyro. At pyro _ station. Don't know what that says except for L4. Did you have a chance to play Pyro? I did for about 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, first time it went up. I actually look forward to the next chance I get to play it. Like, it's hostile, and I will like Pyro a lot more when I have the ability to go back to Stanton. This is checkmate? Okay. Like, it's hostile, it's scary, it's danger around every corner. I already know who I'm aligning with as far as factions go. I believe it's Headhunters and Citizens for Pyro. I would love to kick everyone else out of the system. Absolutely. Especially Xenothreat. I would love Xenothreat to go find a new home. And basically, I'm going about that kind of reasoning being the character I've built for myself is a kid from Terra. Like, having Pyro and these terrorists right next door, one jump away, like, that's just not okay. So I'm definitely with Citizens for Pyro on that, even though their methods may be a bit extreme and they may be doing some definitely shady stuff. They are trying to clean up Terra to the best of their ability. Not Terra, clean up Pyro to the best of their ability. And at least from my perspective, fighting one large gang is easier than fighting 5 smaller ones. Just because while you're fighting one, the other one could come and stab you in the back or help you. You don't know. Fighting, like, a concerted effort against one if need be. Yeah. The people of Pyro are NPCs as well. Citizens for Pyro, one of them. It's one of the gangs in Pyro. The people of Pyro are NPCs as well. Yes, there are lots of NPCs in Pyro. My backstory is from the Ortani system. I have no idea how I arrived in the UE, so I'm trying to earn a living until I can find out what happened to my people and where they went. Nice, very cool. But yeah, there's a lot of NPCs there. A lot of NPCs actually. Then my favorite part is flying around planets and looking at outposts. Not outposts, like little colonies. They're big for outposts. I like the Rough and Ready gang because they are... like, I don't want to upset them at all. Because they're the mechanics of Pyro. Melanin-driven skin shader. It actually does look a lot like, what station did I spawn at? Like, the interior looks a lot like the station I spawned at, but the exterior does not line up at all. Yeah, the one I spawned at only had 1 tendril. Not the 3. But yeah, I guess the interior is going to look a lot similar. Very similar. Which makes sense because R&R, Rest and Relax R&R, not Rough and Ready R&R, but Rest and Relax did help Pyrotechnic Amalgamated build these stations so they are modular. Mount Stunner is here. Here where? Here. Am I missing chats? Is that what you're saying? Pyro 3. Sunshaft occlusion on planetary scale. Welcome from my lurker status. Hello, how's it going? See, now I thought it was supposed to look like this. Like, first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's actually like chugging, like it's a dirty work machine. No. It's on fire. Dynamic fire simulation based on voxel grids. Welcome. They still have a little bit to go on their NPC pathing. I think they used like a basic avoidance panic thing. I imagine they really didn't like that about NPCs in this demo. Is like they just didn't know how to react to it. They can use this fire tech to make plasma tech. I don't think they're planning on it. And why would you need like dynamic room scale plasma? In other words, stars. I don't think they're gonna do fire simulation for stars. Volumetric shadows from cloud cast into the atmosphere, aka ground and cloud shadows from clouds. Like running a voxel simulation in an Idris is going to be expensive. Running it on a planet, nearly impossible. Oh, it's really jittery here. I didn't go to this settlement when I was on. I only found one, and then lots of bugs. Water simulation on detail. Very large lake here. It is a very large lake. There's one right there. There's like several lakes around here. Hierarchical object container technology for outposts in all location streaming. It's a wordy way to say object container streaming. Yeah, all the little subtle things they're doing to the planets is really cool. Now give me that to trees. Let me destroy trees dynamically. I imagine this is another scene that they really want to, well, it's the sweat and tear thing that they really want to work on this one. And this is the moment I would have put money on. Yep, they're going to sell the engine. No. They are. They have said. Brian Chambers said it's like straightforward. They are not selling StarEngine to anyone. And what is more, they even had people coming to them, like studios came to them before now even. And saying, hey, we'd like to license your engine. And they said, nah. Because they're not a engine support team. They don't have an engine support team. They're not like Crytek or Lumberyard or Unreal Engine. They don't have the teams or the people that, keep up with the documentation for outside companies. They don't have the people to liaison with these other companies. And they don't have the engineers to spare to help other teams fix their games instead of working on Star Citizen or Squadron. Ender Shadow Walker lurking in the background just subscribed for 8 months in a row. Thank you so much, Ender. You are an amazing human being. I need to figure out what, Paul has his thing. I need to figure out what the thing is for this channel for subscribing, but thank you very much. It means a lot. All right, so now that we're done with that, we are going to move back to the YouTubes and watch the actual presentation. Is it like a potato on fire or something? What is that? It's over here. What is that thing? It is a stinky glitch. I don't know. I don't know what that means. It looks like a potato on fire. They're definitely going to license this when it becomes mature. Not necessarily. Like Space Engineers is on its third, fourth. I forget which one. I think it's V-Rage 3 that they're working on. And they have no plans to work on it. Or license it. Like in Creation Engine, I don't know if Creation Engine has. Cat, could you not lay on my keyboard? Creation Engine. I don't know if this has any outside games. It's not a for sure thing that games just stinky cheese maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It looks like a potato to me. A really yellow potato. I don't know. It may be cheese. Yeah, there is nothing not Bethesda with Creation Engine. Like you have the obvious like Unreal, Unity, and Source. They're like, yes, license your game engine if it's a good game engine. Like even like what is it? What's Frostbite engine? I don't even know if there's any not first party games from Frostbite. Games using Frostbite. It is okay. So BioWare is not EA, right? Who owns you? Oh no, that is a parent or a child of EA. There's also a child of EA. Motive is also a child of EA. I imagine Ghost is as well. PopCap is. So even Frostbite again is not licensed outside of its parent company. So it's definitely the norm for inbred engines. That doesn't sound right, but engines built in in-house. There we go. Engines built in-house. The norm is not to license them out because you're a game company, not a game engine company, and there's not a lot of overlap between those two. The only overlap is that you have engine devs, but they're doing completely different things. No, it's not for sure, but there's good stuff. It is very good stuff, and I would love to have a large number of games using this engine and basically being Star Citizen X whatever other IP, Star Citizen Star Trek, Star Citizen Star Wars, Star Citizen Stargate. And I would love to see like other games pick it up, like other genres, not just space sci-fis, and see what they can make the engine do. I would love that, but they have no plans at the moment. Even Star Citizen flavor Skyrim. Yeah. I would actually love that. A Star Citizen but cooked in the Skyrim way. So like instead of putting all your points on simulator, put all your points in traditional level-based RPG. Like give me the high fidelity version of a skill tree. Like that'd be cool. Yeah, but everyone hates using Frostbite. Yeah. Everyone hates it, and EA still pushes it. Like, I'm not saying whatever quality of engine. Just because your engine is fun to use doesn't mean it should be out there. Just because it's hard to use doesn't mean it should be out there. Just because it's a good engine or a bad engine doesn't mean it should be out there. Like, they have no plans currently. I'm not saying anything other than that. Like, they have zero plans, zero want to eventually ever sell the engine. You're a bad engine. I'm sorry. Oh, mean to be.
Senior environmental artist.
That is so loud, and I'm on the wrong one. Making mountains. No, where are we? Too many tabs. I'm already up to 95 Chrome tabs. Like, and I have 2 other. I need help. I don't have 95 Chrome tabs. I guess I do have 3 windows open. It's fine. Okay, where did they start? Oh wow, that's very loud. Let me know how the sound is as we go, because it's very loud on my end.
Bonjour! Bonjour, CitizenCon. We are so happy to be here. It's been so long to see you guys physically and just being able to interact. It's been fantastic so far. We're super excited about all this. The video you just watched outlined a lot of features in the StarEngine. It's a
Too low.
reminder of what makes this game so special.
Just turn down
The focus on fidelity. I said it. It's a focus on immersion. And it's a focus on seamlessness, being able to go everywhere. And
Your
you're
computer's
just
running
there.
slow.
The accomplishments from the tech teams at
Give it some
CIG
5-hour
have been
energy.
numerous in building all the technology that allow you to run the game and allow you to experience the same things that we see in our dev
Yeah, we'll
setups.
just do that.
And so what we're about to see today is a deep dive into all these features.
Yeah.
But first, I wanted to touch really quickly on this last year. We have launched
There. I'll
persistence
just talk loud and make
or
sure I'm
added
over it.
persistence. It's been a rocky road this year, and I want to thank you guys for keeping on playing, giving us a hand, giving us good bug reports. It's been fantastic for us to improve the stability of the game, so thank you so much. You guys deserve a hand of applause. Thank you so much.
Have you tried turning it off and on again? Trying reinstalling
I just
Windows?
want to
If that all
touch
fails,
on
just
one
rebuild
bit,
the
which is
computer.
that all the people you will see in the next couple tech panels are really the best of their crafts in the world.
This got Montreal
They
win.
are
I hope that they're going to break their cadence. We know next year is in Manchester, UK. So I, tinfoil hat, believe that they'll come back in 2 years. 2025, CitizenCon will be in Montreal. Because they have to do next year in Manchester because of Squadron. UK, Montreal, Germany, Austin? I don't think so. Because normally it was US, England, US, England, not England, US, UK, nope. US, Europe is how the cadence went. So they do LA, Manchester, Austin, Germany. Do we have to do Manchester? That's so far. Yes, they're doing Manchester for Squadron next year. They confirmed by Chris himself at CitizenCon. I forget how to pronounce his name from Atmo. Had him on the go watch last week's roundtable. I cried looking at those plane tickets. Yeah. Apparently, me and a bunch of people from the org, also IRL friends, are going to try to get it. So the money for from content creation, which I'm doing now, and job and things, it goes to the saving list goes car, saving for going to CitizenCon, and then after that, it is going to be a saving for hiring devs to build a game. That's the plan. Whether that be through Fiverr or other means, I plan to sometime in 2025 actually build a game. The first game I'm looking at is a VR building game because I'm so tired of not having one. I just want to pay for one to be made. So that should be fun. But yeah, car, and then once I get that, which should take me about 6 months. I'll have 6 months to, I have less than 6 months to save and make sure I can get enough for CitizenCon. So if you want to help my harebrained idea of trying to make content creation a job, there's subscribing on Twitch. I don't have monetization yet on YouTube, so go subscribe on YouTube and help me get there. There's also Patreon that you can go to. Need a new clutch for your car? Oh no. Is everything of yours breaking? Your computer breaking? Your car's broken? Does your chair still work? Do you at least have your chair?
Infused by a
My back-
value
oh,
that we
no.
tremendously value at CIG, which is relentless optimism.
And that is something I will carry with me, like the rest of my project. My project, the project, the rest of the project. Relentless optimism. That is how I would describe myself. Not hopium, not copium. I don't have, I'm not here for all the, unrealistic goals. I just have relentless optimism. I had to get new dishwasher 3 weeks ago. Jeez, man. I hate when it's just just everything breaks at the same time. I hate when that happens. We had ours not too long ago. But it's just like the car's broken, the air conditioner's broken, the doors are broken, the house is falling. Tafarian Kung Fu? Hold on, what? But relentless optimism. It's not unrealistic because you can be positive and not be blind. You can be optimistic and not be unrealistic. It's not realism because a realist. People who call themselves realists. No, I don't remember Tafarian Kung Fu. People who call themselves realists are predominantly optimists or pessimists in denial. It was from my 10 for the chairman. I don't remember all the 10 for the chairmans. We'll be going back through this. So after we get done with the CitizenCon review, and I'll probably be doing that 3 out of 4 streams a week. We're gonna go back to our normal Wednesday stuff, which is Star Citizen Origins, and we're going back through all the old posts. We started with reading through the Kickstarter, and we're gonna go through the entire comlink, all of the cringy early videos and things, including Windwing's Hangar, including Next Great Starship, and we'll be very well educated on the history of this game. And hopefully, I'm hoping that we can eventually get to a month a week. It's gonna take a lot because there's a lot of reading in a month. That will still give us over 100 episodes. So, hopefully. Unapologetic, relentless optimism. Screw you guys, I trust that. That's great. That's great. I trust them enough to build their game that they want to build. Like, that's... If nothing else, they're building a game. Like, at 10 years in, 11 years in, whatever you want to call it, 13, 15 years in, depending on which scale you want to use. I trust them enough to work on their game. Optimistic nihilism, I don't. Because optimistic nihilisms are jerks and pitiful. Like, optimistic nihilism is the worst. It's not even a belief system. It's just a screw you. That's all it is.
That this game can be made, that this vision can be achieved. And so, without further ado,
If last thing I'm gonna say on this, if optimistic nihilists actually believed optimistic nihilism, they wouldn't go to work. Why? Because nothing matters. I need to eat. Well, that doesn't matter. I'm dying. That doesn't matter. They're not actually optimistic nihilists. There's some flavor of off nihilism that, you know, they still want to live. Like, I get, like, this is actually some people's belief system. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be offensive, but me and my depression state, optimistic nihilism is just like, oh, you don't care about, you know, wars going on and the atrocities happening? Why? Because optimistic nihilism? You don't think humanitarian things should be done? According to the code of optimistic nihilism, nothing matters. It's just a terrible way to look at events to me. It's offensive to me that humanity, or just like, I don't know, it's offensive to me that nothing matters. And it sucks, but I hate it. As someone who served, optimistic nihilism is a thing, and I lived it. Yeah, oh. Like, I know it's a thing. I just don't like it. At this point, I think it's obvious they're building something, and any opinion is based, and any other opinion is not based on reality. The only question is, how close do they get? Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. What? Cat!
in all of the different panels that you'll see, all the updates, everything that you'll see on screen, whether it's a HUD, an MFD, a ship UI, FPS weapons, everything, all of this
I don't like
is
how you
new.
phrase Benoit. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So as you watch the clips, you're going to see some differences. That's because this all comes from the freshest implementation that we have. We love open development. We love to show you guys the work in progress. And so that's exactly what we're going to look at today. And so without further ado, I'll leave you with Marco, who will show you all the cool and amazing features of our engine and the challenges that we face. Thank you so much, guys.
The cat noises. FPS stuff now, do you think but the end of the year or no? Do I think we're getting butts at the end of the year? Hold on. Do I think we're getting FPS stuff? Which one specifically? I think some FPS stuff are getting in this year and some stuff isn't.
Thanks, Benoit. Hello, I am Marco Corbetta, VP of Technology, and we're going to talk about StarEngine today. We have been developing StarEngine for many years with the goal of creating an online living universe. But creating a universe is not an easy task, and even more difficult to do everything seamless without any loading screens or invisible walls. And massive spaceships flying very fast, close to the terrain and objects, are pushing the limits of procedural generation and streaming.
Oh, we didn't talk
The
about that at all.
limits-
Oh, okay. So developing an open universe engine is one, hard, even harder to make it seamless without any load screens or invisible walls. Fast and massive spaceships pushing streaming and procedural generation to its limits. The sliding and inventory improvements. Man, you had to pick the two that are like done, but in a very interesting state. I think we could definitely get sliding. I don't know how final that UI for the looting is. For combat looting, because I don't like it, and we'll talk about that like when we get there. Like I like the functionality, I don't like the look of it. It looks like it's empty. The entire screen's empty. Stupid soul search. I mean, yeah, soul searching has its place. I think those points when you have to sit down and reason with yourself on what exactly it is you want to do, who you want to be, and what kind of crap you want to get done in your life. It's important. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't hear you guys, so. But Smithy definitely does have my Discord, so. Anyway, back onto the Star Citizen stuff. Sorry. Yeah, and I think like this a lot of the stuff that they're talking about, especially every time they mention seamless and without borders, people are like, it's a dig at Starfield. Like, yes and no. Starfield is a good game in its own right. It's a Bethesda game. It's not a Star Citizen. It's a hey, a lot of people have tried this and it's really hard to do this, and that's why a lot of people don't. So we're actually taking the extra mile and trying to do it like this, where a lot of people don't. Whether that's the quality or the no load screens or whatever, there's a reason other people don't. And I think that's the message that people should be latching onto, is not that, oh, we're better than X game or X company because Star Citizen's doing this without invisible walls or borders or whatever. But it's that there's a reason other games don't, because it's hard. It's nearly impossible. Why is Star Citizen even tempting? Because they have an infinite budget and timeline. So hopefully it works.
Of procedural generation and streaming.
Basically the same thing. Creating an online seamless open universe engine makes everything even more challenging when we stream and generate physics on servers on the CPU. More than 100 players on the server, even more with server meshing. The engine must do a lot of work every single frame, and we'll get to that in the next slide. Yeah, so currently we have a server simulating an entire system, and when that shrinks down to a planet or just a landing zone, you're going to get to like 500 players for like a single server. It's going to be massive because they don't have to have every NPC. They don't have to have all the ships, all the locations, all the transit systems running. They'll only have their little corner of the universe to render. So I imagine even the first version of server meshing, even a static server meshing, is going to have a population jump. Maybe not initially, but they're definitely going to figure out where that breaking point is and use that.
This is not a single-player game, so creating this universe online is making everything more challenging. We stream and generate physics on server, on CPU, And we already support more than 100 players on a single server.
Yeah.
More
The
with
gameplay question
server-
is actually a really big one. It's hard and has diminishing returns and what you really get from it's like it hasn't even really affected well having hidden load screens like No Man's Skies and Elite is a fair way to go. It's just fair because anything above that, it's a nuance that you get, and it's very like all these things are very nuanced and like yeah, it makes it better, but it doesn't affect the actual gameplay at all. Like having to stick around on a planet that makes a lot of sense. But having it not transition between regions or whatever, like normal games would split up a planet onto several servers, and you would just server mesh onto each area of the planet instead of having all of this terrain streamed in and out ridiculously. And they would just hide load screens. So doing it seamless and borderless is just insane. And like there's no, or at least very few, decent examples of good gameplay bonus. I think the biggest gameplay bonus you get is when you're in space fighting all the way, like dogfighting all the way down to the ground. Like that's a very rare occurrence. Think about it, though, what are you doing with all the space we have? Mostly just going from point to point in FTL control. Yeah. Yeah. The in-between time. Yeah, it just doesn't have... And you can always do, like, in-between levels. So, like, you have a station, and you're around the station, there's a level around the station, and you go to the travel level, which is just a level in between, and you have the station. So it's like most games are very much within their like scope and right to like not do this. It makes a lot of sense not to do this. But like Star Citizen just has its infinite budget and infinite time, so they're just kind of like, but what if we do? And it's great. I'm so happy that somebody decided to make Star Citizen. Like I wish more people, more companies had, not companies. I wish more people, more devs, more engineers had the ability to have infinite budgets and infinite time to build whatever it is their magnum opus is. There's absolutely no drawbacks to innovating. The only reason that hiding load screens is considered good enough is because none of these big companies haven't had the courage to do it. I think that's a bit disingenuous, but like, sure, given enough dev time, like there's no drawbacks to anything. But big companies have deadlines, and even What's It made the last really good game, Baldur's Gate. They had a deadline. Sure, they jumped it a bunch of times, but they still had the deadline. Innovation is never nuance. If that was true, none of the technology in your life would have happened. I think innovation can definitely be nuanced, though. Whether it's a screen going from 720 to 1080, like just really change your life. Sure, it's an innovation, but like it's nice to have. It's definitely not a need to have. It's not going to change the way that I use the screen. I think big companies could, but they don't, and they can still make good games. Like a lot of the mid-series Burnout games were still really good games. Skyrim, hailed for what it does. Load screens every door. Could they have removed the load screens if they had enough dev time and funding? Probably. Just like Star Citizen is, but I like sure it would have been a nice to have. But me personally, I don't think that like given 10 more years to make Skyrim, it would have made 10 years more of a difference.
Meshing. To support all this, the engine must do a lot of work every frame. So in a typical StarEngine frame update, we got
Diminishing
up
returns,
to
yeah. What she said,
64
like, half an
hardware
hour ago.
threads, about 200 software ones, over 700,000 streamed-in entities, and millions of entities overall in the solar system. About 150,000
So this is a really interesting screen, and I was talking about this with somebody else after SixCon, like right after SixCon, and they were confused how this is supposed to run on a client, aka how Squadron's supposed to run this. This is not. This is how the Star Citizen server runs, not the Squadron server that runs you and the you. This is to run an entire star system all at once. So for specifically like millions of entities over the entire star system, even now with object container streaming, not all those entities are always loaded in. I'm not saying that games aren't good. What I'm saying is that after every innovation becomes reality, it becomes the norm. Before that, everybody says it's not necessary, it's a pattern. I don't agree, though. There have been, like, plenty of innovations that have not been taken up, like all the simulation in RDR2. Like, it's not the norm. Like, you can't skin animals in a hunting game. Like, the Hunt Showdown, not Hunt Showdown. The Hunter games don't need that. They don't use that, so they don't do that. Sure, it's innovative, but it's just not necessary. EPTU is updated again? Let me just make sure it's updated. Can't wait to see the patch notes. So anyway, this is what a server does for the Star Citizen world, and people were saying, how is Squadron supposed to... I am not an avocado, at least not last I checked, because I was streaming the EPTU, because the EPTU is not Evocati. I haven't signed anything that I know. EPTU is directly after, or can be directly after, Evocati. Experimental PTU is what it stands for. Oh, look at that. We're going to take a slight detour and read some nice, juicy patch notes. Open to Wave 1 testers. It's me, because I pay so much money for it. Ship trespass, defend that, headlight refactor, all the same stuff. Global event, running Sunday on the EPTU. Tractor beams. Do we have the new tractor beam yet? Nomad, Cutlass, 315P Caterpillar, and Hull C. Very nice. No issues. What did you... Added grappling recoil to tractor beam. That's interesting. Here's a controversial. I'm disappointed with Squadron as a single player. Would love a co-op Squadron 42. I think we may get that, just not with Squadron 1. And it may take till like Squadron, whatever sequel to the first trilogy. Because it was in the original Kickstarter, they didn't want to do it. The thing they said about Squadron 42 being co-op is they didn't know or didn't have the time or didn't want to spend the time on balancing encounters for a variable amount of players. Grappling hook? Did I say grappling hook? A grappling recoil. Not grappling. So grappling recoil is when you hit something, when you latch onto something, there'll be kind of like a. I assume. I don't know yet. I'm assuming here. Sorry, should preface that. I'm assuming when you latch onto something, there'll be kind of a jolt when you grab it. So when you grab something, there'll be a recoil, grappling recoil. Is the rework in the no, the rework is not in the EPTU. They have, it's still on the back burner. Give me jetpacks and gosh dang it. Stuff they fixed. Multi-location transit elevators have failed spawn. Players are consistently considered trespassing after completing a UGF mission, destroying a ship near the facility. Whoops. Common players cannot send party invites or join on contacts in the main menu until entering a party within the persistent universe. That's weird. That's now fixed. Synchronized lighting. The lighting cockpit too bright. Yeah, that's the only thing they fixed. This string nicely recent. Yes. I back you on that one. Will the servers still crash every 5 minutes? Oh, probably. It's an EPTU. It is still very, very like I don't even know why they have 2 PTUs up right now. They have EPTU and PTU. I don't know why. Like, what is the PTU doing? Like, they're wasting server capacity on the PTU. Like, what are you doing? What's your plan there? Let's see. What else did they fix? Actors unable to climb the ladder in the command access room of the Caterpillar. Hey, I knew people that were actually experiencing that in live. They're wasting my disk space. I mean, you can always delete it. The wheel container should no longer be deleted by the entity density manager. That'd be nice. Players T-posing when using the Caterpillar's tractor beam engineering station. That's cool. Argo SRV components tractor beams. When the tractor beam is engaged, in the SRV, a high constant pitch frequency is played. Ooh. Stand UGFs. AI grunt AI do not leave their spawn closets unless the player interacts with them. Nice, that's fixed. Wake me up when they dust the Omega and Gamma atmos speed. Oh, buff the Omega atmos speed. Yeah, I imagine a lot of that stuff is going to be completely rewritten. Not only when master modes, but also with resource management, and again when control surfaces. Like, there's a lot of big balance stuff coming down the pike in this next 12 months. Data heist. When servers are destroyed, the disconnect screen vanishes after a while, and the screen becomes blank. Oh, that's fun. Fixed an issue causing ship components to not always save properly to LTP. Nice. They also fixed 8 crashes, 4 server crashes, and a memory corruption issue. So a lot of stuff fixed. Nice. And also, this should be also I said also twice, the IE patch. So that is what we're currently working on. So 3.11. No, 3.2011.
Updates per frame. We have over 200
Turning is
vehicles.
so bad. Really? Their turning is bad? Huh.
Ships and ground ones. Over 2 million physical objects. Over 100,000 objects generated per frame when flying over the terrain. We have many unique locations, streaming on demand in a seamless, gigantic space. Also,
AKA, there's a lot of stuff to do in one frame.
we are supporting many new features that we are going to showcase today. I'm going to start.
We getting my race team truck? Huh? What race team truck? Yeah, where's Jim Boss is it? No, the tuning is great. I want tuning. Oh, I'm bad. Wait. I want. Oh, tuning. I want to tweak the engines. Yeah. I wonder what's going to be a good like pit stop truck out of Polaris. Is it like what is going to have better like hangar support? Is it going to be Polaris or Odyssey? Like that's my question. Who do you choose? Because I'm quite torn on them. Because they're basically my two favorite companies already. Crucible, but the Crucible is like just an engineering bay. You're right, but I don't like it. But you're right. The Crucible makes way more sense. Overall shape, I do like the Odyssey more. I love the Space Dorito. Very soft spot for the Space Dorito, but looking at the white box that we saw at CitizenCon, I prefer this shape. I'm talking about just a single ship kind of repair. Like you have your ship and you have one of these. Which do you choose? Polaris, it's the only ship they have said would be able to refuel and rearm and light repair. Well, light repair can be done anywhere with repair beams. I'm pretty sure the Odyssey has I can't type anymore. That's fine. Where's the QA? Self-sufficient, mining, housing. But how many ships can we fit in the Polaris? Depends on which ship. Find materials, go straight in the cargo. Alright, so the Odyssey's refinery only does fuel for itself. Goes straight to the fuel tanks other than. Racing ships, probably like comfortably 4. Not playing at this point. No way to feed. Jump point mapping. Now have the ability to scan map jump points the same extent as, which remains the best current ship from the roll, position scanners, blah blah blah. I'm looking for. Everyone called it the Caracal. It's not. It's Polaris competitor. I thought the Kraken could also refuel. It would make sense. The Odyssey can only refuel ships landed in its hangar via on-foot manual refueling. There you go. You can also do that. I'm pretty sure that's also what the Polaris has. So, what ships fit in the hangar? So, all of these fit in the hangar. So, anything that... So, the Aurora, I know, the 100... Obviously, if a 300 series fits in it, like 2 100s will fit. I think people will put like 6 arrows in there. So, well, it depends on what kind of fix you want. Because, as we saw in CitizenCon with the repair mechanic coming in with resource managing, we have repair beams, so we can hand repair. Other than that, I don't think the players or the Odyssey will do either. It won't be a dock. You will have to have replacement parts. And if you have the replacement parts, you can do the stuff. It will not be to the level of the Crucible, for sure, because the Crucible has the structural repair abilities. The Odyssey or the Polaris does not have structural repair ability. Interesting. I'd be interested to see if we get to keeping branches / small fab facilities like we have in the Carrick Tinkering. Tinkering is an interesting one. We'll definitely be talking about all that sort of stuff when we get to the base building. Tunkering? Trunkering? Stupid mobile. I get. No, I understand. I hate the Twitch on mobile. It sucks.
And introducing the new and improved clouds and fog.
If we get
done by
to the base building, what do you mean? We're not getting to it today, but like.
The first new feature.
Let's see. Like what? How many do we have? Where is the schedule? I don't remember the schedule. How many do we have to go? One more go. Okay, one more. So yeah, they'll definitely have it by the time we get there. So we're doing, well, we may only get one done. We're only a 5 minutes into an hour-long video. It's going to be fine. It's just fine. So we're probably only getting one done today. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to go. So in 9 streams at the latest, we'll get there. I said trucking because they don't. Oh. I see. Thank you. You guys are hilarious. Yeah. So the plan was to do both. I don't think we're gonna get to both unless we want to be up till 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't because I have to work at 7:50 in the morning, I believe. Right. Yep, 7:50 in the morning. Yep, we gotta be working at 7:50 in the flipping morning. Does anyone know if you can put Terrapin in the player center? Yes, you can. Innocent ears. No, but I can not like it, not be innocent.
Feature is the light shafts. They are volumetric shadows from clouds cast into the atmosphere. They are truly volumetric and 3D, fully integrated. They are not just a post effect as it is usually done in games. With this, the atmosphere from an overcast sky gets darker, and this is important for planets and locations with bad weather. Another component is the new ground fog. It follows the terrain up to a specified elevation for different locations. It is also fully integrated into the atmosphere. It receives volumetric shadows from clouds and terrain. It reduces the light scatter into the view ray. And in this video, we are showing all the features combined together. In addition, we made many improvements to cloud shaping to allow for more variation and details.
This just makes the environment so much more
The shape noise
tactile.
blending, a vertical variation has been improved a lot.
I didn't see the
Variation
difference.
has been improved a lot. Blending, a vertical variation has been improved a lot.
Oh wow, okay. I don't think compression's gonna get it, but if you look
Blending,
it's the same thing.
vertical
Right here, if you look right over there, it's really fuzzy,
variation has been improved
and
a
then
lot.
just way better, way better. The ground fog added. Wow! Holy crap! I didn't like. You don't notice the clouds as much here, and then that. Wow! Lighting is no joke. That is. I mean, other than hangers, I'm excited about lighting. And this working in 22. All these planetary, all these lighting effects working in 22. That is just massively amazing. Do it again. I didn't see it again. It's so subtle that whatever they did, it don't like it does get better on like when you're looking at a light object behind a cloud, that haziness that happens, or that like pixelatedness that happens, that it fixes. But when you're in a really good example of the cloud tech now, it doesn't really help. But whatever they did, it just is super cool. And it's interesting that you say Planetech V5 or V, because it's not. As far as I know, they're not calling it Planetech 5, because what they said when they got done with Planetech V4 is they don't really need to make a V5. They have the things they need. Now it's just about polishing them and adding to the things they already have. So it's still V4, it's just V4 plus. When I get game school, when I get to game school, all our art classes, the mantra was "Light is life." Nice. When I went, I can't read. When I went to game school, Planetech.5.
Also, we made improvements to shorten long distance read, and the tiling is
Even
less
autocorrect
visible.
on there. It's just so good. It's just so good. Cloud sharpening. Just works. It just works. Ground fog and. Oh my god, those clouds are so cool looking. Now, I don't think I've said this on stream because we're not in a cloudy, like the room's not cloudy, so I would have no reason. Anyway, I hate clear skies. I absolutely hate clear skies. I much rather partially cloudy skies, because it gives the sky texture, even in real life. I'm talking about like walking or driving down the road. And I also, have plenty of eye problems to make it like when there's no clouds and no variation in light, no scattering of light, it just kind of hurts. So that's another reason. But they look so realistic. It's amazing. Like, I feel like the texture of the ground is, or like the shape of the ground now is doing a disservice to the clouds. The clouds, I swear, look real. Cloud improvement. Ground fog. It's so good. Like, the edge of the cloud right here. That's a perfect example. Cloud improvements.
And best of all, we're going to include all these new features and improvements in the next 3.22 release.
It's just so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do I have any more coffee left? I do have coffee left. Apparently so my cat too. Whenever if global illumination was needed before they would turn stars from point light sources into globes, they are already globes. Light comes off of our sun in angles, not in straight lines. Why is the coffee always? Yes. As far as I know, suns are already physicalized. Stars are already physicalized.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Mike Snowden. I'm the Director of Visual Effects.
And I'm Ali Brown, the Director of Graphics and Procedural Tech.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Really happy to be here, really excited to show you.
I wonder if this is going to tell me anything. I can't spell physical. Model star shows physical damage. I don't know if anyone's like touched the sun. I don't know. I don't know like how to like get that information. Yeah, quantum past the star, and you will see your shadow change in the cockpit. Yeah, like as far as where the light comes from, that is. I just don't know if you can like run into the sun, but we'll figure it out with the new quantum travel mode.
We're going to be showing dynamic fire in StarEngine.
Fire!
So dynamic fire is a driver for gameplay in both FPS and multi-crew experiences. It creates emergent sandbox gameplay, and it can be used by designers to craft very dangerous scenarios for players. And as you can see from the video, it gets very intense. Okay, so how do fires start in StarEngine? Well, there needs to be a source of ignition, and there are multiple ways in which it can occur. For example, weapon impacts or misfires, explosions or damaged items, and the player needs to be alert to their surroundings with fire and ever-present threat. If a fire does break out, you're going to see it dynamically propagate through the area, causing damage to environment and player. And at this point, the player needs to limit the damage, of course, by extinguishing the fire in any way that they can. So when doing so...
So who's gonna sneak on the ship? Who's gonna sneak on someone's ship, and just always light their ships on fire? Because I feel like that's like gonna be a thing. Pattern nah. Just some arson. Not it. Name on by the way. We need incendiary grenades.
They're going to need to wear protective clothing to protect them from extreme heat. They're going to need to wear a closed helmet to protect them from smoke inhalation, poor oxygen levels. And there's actually multiple ways the fire can be extinguished, including the removal of heat, for example, using the fire extinguisher, which is my personal favorite. It's a lot of fun doing that. The removal of oxygen, for example, locking off the area, venting the oxygen, creating a vacuum. Or simply, the fire's burned so fiercely that it's done everything it needed to do. There's nothing left for it to destroy. And if you let it get this bad, it's probably time to consider repairing your ship.
Okay, so how do we achieve this from the technical perspective? Well, the first thing the artists and designers do is they mark up their scene to tell us what physical properties that each surface is made from, whether it's wood or metal. But not only on the surface, we have to describe what is behind the surface. You might see a metal panel on your spaceship, but has it got cladding or wiring behind it? It's important we know all this so we know how flammable it is. Then after this, we have to define all the physical properties that go with these surfaces. So, for example, what the mass is, the energy density, combustion temperature, fuel ratio. And we use all these physical properties and we sum them up in each voxel, which is a 1 by 1
detailed. They're going like, I don't think they have like physical pipes and wires in the walls, especially not like modeled in, but that they're like even just looking at a surface and saying this is a metal panel and there is this material behind it.
cube.
That's still really
and then
detailed.
once we have these voxels, this forms the basis of our simulation. So then first thing we do is we look for sources of ignition, and then we're off. So here's our debug mode that shows us what's going on in the simulation and is what we use to track it. And you can see these squares enlarging to show us where the fire is spreading. For each of these voxels, we're tracking the fire, the temperature, fuel remaining, the amount of smoke. And the fire is propagating via convection and radiation, which are both accurately simulated. And it's consuming the gases and producing the knock-on products as well as it goes. And because we're using a proper simulation, like Mike mentioned, when you vent a room, not only are you removing the oxygen and putting the fire out, but if the
Thank you, Kat.
temperature remains the same, if oxygen is reintroduced, the fire will reignite and it will continue
Yeah,
burning.
that's
just
one
like
of the
it
things
would
I
in
thought.
real
Like
life.
that's really fast. Like, what is it burning there? Procedural gases, yes, that is part of the resource management system. It is procedural gases.
What's next for this? So our focus has been on interiors, in particular spaceships, but all interior spaces really, and this voxel grid really helps us solve that problem. Our next focus is going to be on planets. Obviously, they represent a
So
slightly
they just said something very specific. Interior spaces. They are looking at this for all interior spaces. This is not for citywide. This is not for planets. Interior spaces only. Capture gases and tell them yes. They showed cargo containers. That's gonna be like in end of like 2 weeks now. Like in 2 weeks we'll get to the cargo talk in the last panel. But yeah, they sent some stuff down there. We joke about Drake making their ships full of balsa wood and tinfoil, but their ships are probably going to be more flame resistant than most other ships because they're just the steel beams. And there's very little, like, the rooms in the Corsair are highly flammable because there's just bedding and that weird, like, mesh thing. But other than that, it's basically just steel and metal everywhere. I think Drake ships and Misk ships will be in the higher tier of flame resistant, and then Misk on the bottom end for sure. Not Misk, Origin on the bottom end because there's wood all over the place. Let's see. Argo would be somewhere in the middle. They have decent amount of cloth in the walls. I think RSI, they don't really necessarily have a lot of cloth and things everywhere. But I think RSI and Crusader would be somewhere in the middle. Commercially. I mean, different gases do different things in different places, so. There's a combat aspect. No. But no, there's definitely different gases you can get from different places. Even just like atmosphere scraping to get different gases, whether it be pneumonia, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, whatever it is. And then having to use science gameplay to split it maybe into different components. Like there was an older mod. I forget what the old Mind Chem was the older one, and then rock hounding chemistry for Minecraft were two really good chemistry mods for Minecraft where you could take elements and then break them down, kind of something like that. Radion is radioactive, so maybe low yield power source. I can't wait till they start looking at proper survival mechanics to fill in that area of when your ship goes down and you live, being able to build up back from scratch.
Different
like they said they
challenge,
were going to
the
do.
vastness of them. We have to transfer this over the network and simulate it slightly differently, and we also have to render it at scale. But the way we've done it, the core tech we've used, we should be able to scale this up quite easily. So that's going to be our next focus.
Okay, so how do we create realistic dynamic fire visuals in StarEngine? Well, we start with the simulation, as just described by Ali, and this gives us the data we need to drive the visuals.
Definitely won't sneak into this ship and snag subcomponents to keep my race.
Then we bring in the burn
Ship's
shader.
range.
So this can be applied to static environments, and we have a lightweight version of the shader for
Itself,
entity,
always lock your
which is
ship,
kind of based
especially when
on
playing with Smashy.
the dirt shader and where. Then we've got the glow, which is an animated surface decal shader for static environments. This is where we start to bring in some nice motion. And then we bring in the GPU particles, which are spawning from voxels and in screen space. Obviously, these are doing a lot of the work visually. Then we bring in the lights. These are spawned for clusters of voxels as opposed to per voxel as an optimization, a cluster being a representation of voxels.
Carbon fiber, nice composite material, yeah.
And then we bring in the fog. So this is height-laid volumetric fog. The smoke fills the room, and it goes up to the ceiling before filling the rest. And we're simulating that. So to finish, we're going to take a look at all of that put together in the game. Thank you.
I think you're a bit late there, bud. I don't know about you guys, but like I can feel the heat from that. Like I can, like, the sound's perfect, the lighting is perfect. Like I get warm when I'm watching that video. Honestly. It's insane how good their effects team are right now. Like I can feel my face being warm. I'm being placeboed with a video. It's insane. Well done. Just absolutely well done.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Ever trained through a forest fire? Fortunately not. I don't know, we don't have the choice.
Hello everyone, I'm Will Hain. I'm here to talk about water in StarEngine.
Hello, Will.
So, water is a huge part of both of our games, Star Citizen, Squadron 42, and we wanted to give it a major upgrade. We were going to set 3 ideas that we wanted to impart on our water. We want it to look as good as possible, obviously. We want it to look realistic. We want it to be beautiful. We want it to be in motion constantly. It should always be moving and always be reacting to everything around it, whether that be players or objects or vehicles. And we wanted this to work on the whole scales of all of Star Citizen, all the way.
All right, so goals for water. Goals for new water. Our water should look as realistic as possible. That is an ever-changing target, so they're going to continue working on it. It should be constantly in motion, reacting to players, bullets, ships, wind, objects, and etc. It should do this over huge scales of Star Citizen, from huge ships crashing to tiny bullet ripples, and on all types of water, including puddles, rivers, lakes, oceans, and of course, hot tubs. Okay, sure.
All the way down from footprints in puddles.
Now, the one thing they don't talk about here is the gravity of water. Because that's something that has been discussed or has been kind of up in the air. We can include the pun in that. For sinks and pools in ships. We have at least 2 ships with a pool, being the Phoenix and the 890. And what happens when the gravity goes well? We don't know. This is going to be better. Is this going to be better or worse than Space Engineers Water? Better. I almost guarantee it. But I think Space Engineers Water might end up being more dynamic because you can edit the terrain in Space Engineers, and I wonder if you can like physically scoop water in Space Engineers. So okay, I guess better is it will be graphically better, but possibly not have as many simulation jobs to do. Phoenix Hot Tub, it was confirmed years ago when it came out. What do you mean? There's been one there since it's been in the game. I think Space Engineers will have more simulation, and Star Citizen will have a more realistic just because of the types of the two games.
Enormous ships crashing into the ocean. I'm going to talk about our updates to the water rendering first, and then we'll move on to that other stuff I
Looks
discussed.
kinda
So first of
cursed.
all, the water shaders, particularly the ocean and the river ones, were in dire need of a major upgrade. They were currently using a technique called deferred shading, which is really fast and fantastic for opaque objects, but does not translate well for transparent ones, which of course water is. So the first step that we made was to transition to forward shading. That allowed us to introduce more physically based techniques, such as proper lighting, reflection, and refraction. It allowed us to integrate the atmosphere properly into our water lighting setup. And it also meant that we could get more fun techniques, such as wave crest backlight scattering, as adding better foam rendering, which includes halftone blending, surface haze, and much more detailed bubbles on the individual bits of foam. I've got some examples of that here. In this
really
particular
cool.
screenshot, you can see the icebergs in the near frame. You can see we're refracting the iceberg underneath. It's correctly refracted. In the mid frame, you can see that the iceberg is reflected back onto the water. That is now accurate. We weren't doing that
All
properly
right, I
before.
should get the Winter
Here you can
Festival
see-
stuff organized, have fun. Thank you for stopping by. I hope it all goes well. I wish you luck.
Our accurate water lighting from this really beautiful screenshot of the Gladius over the water. I love this one. So this is the objects under the water being correctly lit, which is new. And then we are applying the lighting changes from the specular highlights on the surface, and also considering the lighting from the suspended particles in the water, depending on how deep and dense the
Now, I
water
didn't
is.
see
which gives
this
us-
when it was live because it was live and I didn't have a lot of time to look at it. But just right down there, you can see a little bit of the stuff under the water. So that's cool.
this
The
really
most
beautiful
light
effect.
is being
This
across it.
screenshot just looks good, but what is going on is that it's demonstrating that the atmosphere and the water are sorting properly. This looks like everything is normal, but it's challenging to implement with forward-rendered water and proper ray march clouds like we have in-game. Props to Alan, who works on all of this. I did the next bit. And here we can see the wave crash light scattering. See how the sun is coming across the back of those waves? It's lighting up the suspended particles in them. It just looks gorgeous. Here we have the multi-layered foam, and from a distance we have both surface foam and subsurface foam rendering correctly, looking really, really nice. I've just got a video here before and after. First of all, this is our lakes on Stanton 4. Next we have water volumes on Horizon. There you go. And this last demo, this is a Clio on the Stanton system. This is what it currently looks like in game, and I think you'll agree, pretty dramatic difference. So the next bit that I want to talk to you, that me and the team at Planet Tech and Graphics have been working on, is of course water surface simulation. This has been an absolute pleasure to work on. So we had a few aims for this. We wanted it to be multi-input.
So far they said that all that stuff is also relevant for rivers. I don't know if this bit is, but I hope it is.
We want physics to influence this. We want our MFX system to influence this. We want bullets. We want everything. We want high concurrency. You guys, it's a sandbox game. You're going to break it. You're going to stick 1,000 picos in our puddles. It's got to work. And it's got to be scalable. It's got to work from the tiny scales to the footprints in the puddles all the way up to, as I said, giant ships crashing into the ocean. So the technique that we chose for this is a form of surface wave propagation. It's GPU-based, it's highly realistic at a low cost, and it can be scaled for waves of different amplitudes. So we can have all of that built right in just by adjusting a few constants. I've got a demonstration here. We're going to have the player walking through the puddle. As you can see, as he steps, you get a bigger ripple. But even as he's stepping, the toe is being dragged through the
still
water,
doesn't
moving the water
work.
accurately. This is not a cop-out. We're doing this in 3D. You see as I'm jumping. And then this next demo, we're going to fire some bullets. This is a bit loud, this one. Right, the one more thing that we had to look at. So it's all well and good, this working on a puddle, but Star Citizen is not made of puddles. It's made of oceanic planets. It's made of everything. We needed to make this multi-scale. So we wanted the water near and far, not just in a square around the camera. We wanted lots and lots at once. The solution we picked was a multi-region water sim. Now, this was really, really tricky to get right, but I really think we have now. This basically means that we can dynamically allocate all of the simulation regions depending on what is colliding where and what resolution we need at what parts of the screen. We can optimize this very heavily to make sure that you get what you want to see at the right time.
Oh
We
my.
still need to get that information onto the water, though, and that's a bit trickier. So what we devised is yet another set of regions. Now, the regions are slightly different. The simulation regions need to happen wherever something is contacting the water, and that needs to happen regardless as to whether you can see it, because if there's a collision going on there, I look away, and then I look back. If it stops going and has to restart, that looks bad. Whereas the water, we only need to know the total result when it's actually in view. So we have these new regions which cover all water in view. And the beauty of this is that we can use this for multi-input and multi-output systems. Anything can influence our water, whether it be the simulation, whether it be weather, whether it be VFX. And then anything can be affected by water now. So the water rendering reads from this. But then we can also spawn VFX particles from wave crests. We can add screen space effects. We can have a line across your visor. We don't have this yet, but it's accurate to the displaced water in front of you. We've got this technology now, so we can use it to influence. We can add screen space effects. We can have a line across your visor. We don't have this yet, but it's accurate to the displaced water in front of you. We've got this technology now, so we can use it to influence any of our work going forward. And here's a really good video of some of it in action. Just, I'll just let that play. This is the debug mode. Essentially, we're moving a sphere of basically infinite mass through the water. And as you see, if we pan out a bit, we make our sphere a bit bigger, we get a much different result from the sim. Spawning the foam properly. It looks really nice. Really happy with this one. So what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to turn on the debug mode so you can see where the regions are. You see we've got these gray boxes. They light up green when there is a hit inside the box. We've also got different sizes going on. If you look near the shore there's a big cluster of text. That is a whole bunch of other regions because there's some stuff floating there causing little ripples that we can't actually see. And as you see, these scale properly. We can add the results from multiple sizes of simulation together, and they influence and interact with one another accurately. You see those big waves crashing over the little sim there.
Very nice.
It works pretty nicely.
It just seems like they found a system that works so well, and they've made it to where you can just drop it in, and anywhere there is any impact or interaction with the water, it again just works properly.
I'll just let that video play out.
The magic of procedural generation.
So, what does that look like when we bring it all together? What's it going to look like in game? Now, you did see a little bit of this in the StarEngine trailer, but actually, I think this video does a little bit more justice to it. So I'm just going to let that play out for you.
I can't wait to see this in game. It's going to be so cool.
Forward in a second, you're going to see the wake start to happen behind us there. And from the cockpit perspective, water droplets on the glass thrown up from the water sim. This is what I'm talking about using multi-output. And that's us. Thank you so much, Sitcon. Handing back over to Ali.
It's just so good. Like, all of StarEngine was just so good.
Hello again. So, I'm here to talk to you today about a few other graphical things we've got coming in. I'm really proud of the work we've done on the fire and the water. They both look amazing features. I'm going to talk to you about a few smaller features and a few longer-term R&D features we're coming in on the visual side. This first one, something we wanted for cinematics and telling a story, but also to tie into our active features.
Let's see. Blood, sweat, and tears. Use particle effects mapped to the character's face to simulate blood, sweat, and tears. Fully dynamic, not just animated texture. Highly customizable workflow. Skin shader simulates various light scattering effects. Sweat also introduces subtle changes to the skin redness. Hooked into the actor status or actor system to respond to exortion and damage.
Exertion and damage. Get the face to tell a little bit more story on our characters. So this blood, sweat, and tear system is something we implemented recently, and it allows us to use a GPU particle simulation, which we project onto the face, and then we integrate it into the skin shader so we can get realistic reflection and refraction of water on your face. And we even make the skin go a little bit redder to simulate the extra blood flow when you're tired or upset. So none of this is a pre-canned animation. It's completely dynamic. We have complete control over everything. We can keyframe every single tear if we want to. And we can even simulate blood, like here. So next thing I want to talk about is our scope shader. Design came to me telling me that they really wanted to up the game for the rifle scopes. They weren't quite good enough. They didn't really feel realistic for them, and they thought it was a real core part of the first.
A lot of graphic stuff, just rapid fire.
So to give you an idea of what we used to do, we have these used to use these type of fake scope meshes, which you see here, which is where we type of slice the scope in half so you can see through it. And sometimes we put these big black planes around them to obscure your vision. And we put a bit of glass on the front of it, but there was nothing really to tell you that it was a lens. So we've worked on a new scope shader, which is now going to be on all of our scopes moving forwards. And I'll give you a quick show of what that looks like in game.
And Level Cap was
So
very concerned about this, so it'll be interesting to see
red dot scope,
what the FPS community thinks about these.
Lens distortions. You can see this little refraction and bending of light on it. You see it works when you don't have to be actually holding the rifle for it to work. We've got a correct emulation of eye relief on the scope. So we have the blur, distortions, chromatic aberration. And then we've also got support for digital displays like this one, which has light amplification and has support for EMPs. If you get an EMP, you're going to have the display's going to get distorted. So we're quite proud of this. We think it's going to give a much better, more realistic simulation of the scopes in the game. And I think I've kind of mentioned before, but it's not a fake effect. It applies to our scopes no matter where they are. You don't have to be using the scope. You could look down somebody else's scope and see the same thing. It's fully integrated into it, so it's really quite proud of that. Next feature I want to talk about, hopefully if any of you have a HDR monitor and you've been playing 320, hopefully you've given a go of the HDR feature. We're really proud of this.
I still need to get mine configured.
We've got some great feedback from you guys as well. There's been some strong feedback about we want extra black level controls, so we're going to be adding that for you. So make sure you can tweak the image exactly how you want. And there's a great user guide on Spectrum as well if you want to know how to get the best out of it.
Yeah, I didn't get Level Cap's criticism of this. I also didn't get his criticism of the other FPS stuff. Seemed a little forced to me. I don't know. I don't know. He's the only like dedicated FPS person I know. So I just basically defer FPS criticism that way. I don't know. I don't want it to make me worse at the game. That's for sure. I think the only criticism I can concur with that he had is that games have done scopes for years and they haven't really had a problem, even really good ones. So I don't know if it's obviously Star System wants to go above and beyond everything. I don't know if necessarily redesigning how scopes work is the best way of doing things. If they make it work well, then obviously I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Not always a straightforward tech to get the best out of. Just to give you an insight of how this works, we've got something called Unified Tone Mapping Curve, and this is the process where we map the real-life colors of real-life intensities of light onto what your monitor can display. And rather than having an SDR mode and HDR mode, we have like a smooth system where we can blend between SDR and HDR depending on the peak brightness of your monitor. We also pay a lot of attention to make sure we preserve the colors and the hues to keep an accurate image for the artist, and especially for skin tones. We don't want them turning red or white or doing anything bizarre. Just one thing to mention, we've got some content adjustments that will be ongoing. We've got a lot of content in Star Citizen. It takes a little bit of time to make sure we balance everything so it doesn't look too dim or look like a supernova. Next thing I want to mention, temporal upscaling. This has been something that's been asked for a long time, and we're proud to finally get it into your hands. We've got 3 different techniques we're going to be implementing. We've got CIGs, we've got our own temporal super resolution solution called TSR. We've got AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution 2, and we've got NVIDIA's DLSS 2 as well. They each have different characteristics and hardware requirements and trade-offs, so it's important to get you all 3 so you could have a choice of what you want to look. On the left here, we've just got a zoom in from one of our outposts. That's no anti-aliasing for people that really love to see jagged edges. The center one is our TSA, which is what you've got in the current release today. And on the right-hand side is TSR without doing upscaling. And this is going to be replacing the TSA solution. And this gives us better quality and more stable image and hopefully much less ghosting. We can use our TSR.
Ooh. Much less ghosting. That is very much what I want to see. I wonder if you play it now, if you turn off TSA, do you get no ghosting? I don't know. I have to try that. Seems like a bit status quo mentally to me. All the stuff that already exists, if it doesn't work, we can also go back. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like absolutely do the thing that CIG wants to do. And if it doesn't work, obviously there's always the fallback of what literally everyone else does. Like absolutely right there with you. It's that conversation about innovation again. Yeah. Yep. Oh, much less ghosting. I missed that the first time. Yeah. So I don't even know what's a good video to show for it. Starts as in I don't even know what, not Odyssey. Videos. Would that have it? I don't know. Not really what I wanted. Ollie. Gosh dang it. They're all Ollie. Gosh dang. Okay, you're just not helping. I don't know what a good shot to be. This might get us.
Every now and then, ask a path forward to that question by reviewing the currently flyable Drake Corsair, which is described on the Star Citizen
Okay, very
website
little
as an
ghosting there.
exploration. What to expect?
Yes. Now get in motion. Oh, I might actually have some. Can't really tell there. That's great. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's super distracting. Now go third person. I dare you. Oh, there's some. And you probably can't see that. See if this can capture it. Yeah. Okay. So this is a really not extreme example, but this happens, but it a lot of time can look like this. Like this just giant line behind your ship, just ghosting. And that's not what I wanted. If we can get that to a lesser degree, then I'm so in on all of this. I always love seeing advancements in AA stuff. It's very cool. All the DLSS stuff that, well, DLSS kind of jumped the shark a bit on the whole AA, and now is going into frame, just generating more frames as your GPU can do it, which is hilarious. What are you talking about now? Yeah, quite happens quite a bit. Yeah, it is super distracting.
To do upscaling, here's the example of how it looks at each resolution. And similar results from
Pixelated,
AMD's FSR.
blurry and pixelated and blurry.
And some numbers here, which I'm sure you can pour over later, but basically we can get.
Okay, so this is lowers. Wow. Wait, what? So TSR native. Okay, so interesting. So adding TSR only like costs you 2-3 frames? No, that's like 1-2 frames. And then if you even like go up to quality, it drops the requirement down to, was it like 10 frames? Or milliseconds? Drops the whole thing down by milliseconds? That is insane. And then the difference you get between the things are not exactly extreme. Just turning it on to quality just gets you so much performance, though. Dang.
Get about 2 times GPU performance if you're interested in using the upscaling technique.
Yeah, could you imagine? Like, just like you just have twice the performance in Star Citizen. I love graphics.
Obviously, if you're CPU limited, you might not get quite them numbers. It depends on your machine. Right. We also intend to look at frame generation techniques like FSR-free and DLSS-free, but these are going to come a bit later. We're going to focus on GPU performance, getting that up first. Frame generation isn't really applicable unless you've got a really good performance first. Some other quick updates.
Which makes a lot of sense, because you need to have headroom on your GPU to do frame generation. If you don't have headroom, it's not going to generate frames, because generating frames requires your GPU have headroom to continue to render more frames. It doesn't just display, it needs to be able to render them. So when your CPU is busy, the GPU can continue crushing frames.
We've got the screen space shadows as Alpha 320. It gives us some extra detail in our shadows across characters, and it's particularly on planets, it helps a lot. And we've also got a new texture and mesh streaming engine that helps us get as much possible detail as we can onto your VRAM on your GPU. And it does something we call load balancing. It will scale dynamically for your GPU to make sure we can get the absolute best possible results. We've also got some more streaming improvements coming in the next release. Just to give you a quick show of what the screen space shadows mean, here we've got a planet with no shadows. I think it's Microtech. The shadow maps, so you see the normal shadow maps that fill in half the scene. But then when we get the screen space shadows, you look in the top of the screen or in the flowers, they type of fill in the detail for the rest. They really help type of bed the scene in and stop these things looking at floating.
All right.
Next up, I just want to talk about planets for a little bit. It's something I get asked about a lot of what's happening next with planets. So we've got quite a lot of R&D in progress. First thing, we've got 2 new pieces of tech being started recently. First is virtual terrain texturing. It's quite a technical detail, but what this means for you is we're hopefully going to get much less popping or no popping at all. And we're going to achieve this by moving all the calculations to the GPU. And we'll be reusing the same type of patch-based system that Will talked about in his water presentation. And it should give you major CPU savings as well. So we're quite looking forward to getting this in. Another benefit is that it's going to give us the ability to add more complicated logic on, so we can type of...
And the reason that they're always talking about we're moving this to the CPU, we're moving that to the GPU, is they're always trying to balance each frame to use the same requirements for both of them, or whatever balance they are aiming for on them. Because if you have your CPU done with a scene, 5 seconds before your GPU is, or milliseconds or whatever, then you can always throw some stuff that you're working on the GPU over to the CPU. And calculate there. Some stuff is definitely better on one of the two because the logic cores and then the processors are built different. But they're always trying to make sure that they're balancing the two out so they can get most performance out of both of them.
Do more diverse and interesting terrain, like things like, we don't have beaches at the moment. We'll be able to achieve that. And there's other similar things where, based on the local conditions, we're able to do more advanced decision making. Next thing we want to look at, which is probably the thing we get asked about the most, is our scattering system, which is what's responsible for putting all the trees and the rocks down in the world. We're going to, again, move this to 100% to the GPU, and that should let us have vastly longer draw distances right up until the horizon, and much better performance. So we'll finally get rid of the dreaded pop of trees coming in for you. We also have to integrate it with our harvestable system, the resource system, and the awesome fire system you just saw a minute ago.
Never mind. I take back everything I said. Fire system. For planets. That is a lot of words, or a lot of meaning and not a lot of words. Okay, so this is specifically talking about the scattering system, rocks and trees, and plants. Integrate with the harvestable resource, and now is the resource system the resource network system? And fire system, jeez. They have big plans for planets. And I'm not even sure I know what they are.
It's going to be a hierarchical-based system, which what that means is we'll be able to use nearby vegetation or rocks to influence what other vegetation rocks can grow or will show up. And this lets us produce much more complicated rule sets, so we can do things like have a tree that maybe underneath it doesn't have any grass, or maybe certain trees come together in clumps. And we'll get a much more natural distribution of vegetation.
Nice.
And final thing we want for planets is we want to be able to build them much easier, much faster, and we want to make sure they are truly unique. At the moment, our planets are unique. However, they are built from type of tile sets, like pre-built things that get mixed and matched together and blended in complicated ways so that you don't see the repetition. But it's not truly unique, not in the same way that the Grand Canyon might be.
Did he say
or the
at
River
the end
Nile
of the
or
fire
Mount
thing?
Everest.
I
And
totally
that's
didn't
what
miss
we
that.
want.
I totally missed
So
that.
to get that, we need to replicate the complicated natural processes on Earth, like geology, climate, erosion, and these things aren't trivial. So we've got 3 options. We've got offline tools, Houdini, Terragen, things like this, where you could simulate all these processes in the engine. But we've started some R&D a few months ago on whether we can use machine learning to do some of this. So
Now, hold on. Go back. I want to talk about that a minute. I cannot wait to see the outcome and to know what they've chosen to go ahead with. So this means that every planet is literally just simulated and the landscapes come out of a simulation in the engine, like live simulation. This one is procedurally generating the planet and then authoring that system, and then just straight up machine learning. And like machine learning, I feel is an interesting way to use machine learning, because I don't exactly know how they're going to use it, whether it's just be basically the AI art just for ecosystem kind of things, like for mountains, to make realistic mountains. Hey, we want like these type of mountains, and it just goes, here's your tiles. I don't know. Just super interested to see how they're trying to use these things. Because like here's what they want to see on their planets: the human impact, erosion from volcanoes, rain, what have you, oceans cause erosion. More geology and the climate. He did it. It was quick. This machine learning planet creation system looks interesting. Yeah. So we're at 31.4.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.
thanks a lot.
No, he didn't say it there. I don't know where he said it.
On Earth, like geology, climate, erosion, and these things aren't trivial.
Seems like they want to move away from tiles in some way. Well, that's kind of what the core of planet painting is tiles. I just think, wow, either they're trying to move away from it or they're trying to make planet unique tiles. Basically, we'll keep an eye on R&D to find out.
So we've got 3 options. We've got offline tools, Houdini, Terragen, a quick idea of how that would work or how it could work. If you just start with some random input here, it's just like some noise. We run it through a temporary simulation, so we can type of get a more reasonable
Now, which one is this?
to do some of this. So just to give you a quick idea of how that would work or how it could work, if you just start with some random input here, it's just like some noise. We run it through a temporary simulation, so we can type of get a more reasonable approximation of simulation at different altitudes and latitudes on Earth. And then what we do is we categorize all this into different biomes. So based on the temperature and moisture, you'd find out what is a desert, what is a forest. And this part is crucial. Yeah. So this is...
I think I get what you're saying now. That makes sense. So this looked very similar to me. There we go. Why do you do the things you do? Digital elevation map. Ah, okay. Give me more points. Give me new map. And then biomes. Style. Default. Change. There we go. Like, his map looked oddly similar to stuff I can make in here. I'll just go like there or something. New map. Kim's about to start crying. There we go. Okay, let's style. Let's do where's biomes? Berg's biomes. Filter. Yeah, clipboarder. Blur 3. Triplets. There we go. And we'll do, if we go over here, configure world. Where's, there we go. It really doesn't like what I did. There we go. And then give me a min zoom of 0.5. No, that's 15 point. Thank you. There we go. Ta-da! I love this tool so much. That's the wrong one. I keep hitting the wrong one. Oh, that's that. We're over here. There we go. All right. What were we talking about? Okay. By the way, I'm sure Ali said that planetary fire just before the final fire demo. Okay, just before you could file it. He definitely said it a couple of times during the fire talk. It looks exactly like what I produced. The demo map. Oh, meep. DEM created from points as a point cloud.
Easily. So that's going to be our next focus. The represent a slightly different challenge on interiors, in particular spaceships, but all interior spaces really, and this voxel grid really helps us solve that problem. Our next focus is going to be on planets.
I can't believe I missed that. So they have it working for all interiors, and they want to now move on to trying to get to work with planets.
The algorithm. We could come up with this image any other way. You could hand
That's why I
paint
brought
it as
you
an
guys along.
artist, or we could just randomize the noise to get a different set of images. And then what we do is we take the large data sets we already have from Earth, from Mars, and from the Moon, and we train it on exactly the same distribution, so biomes, so forests, grasslands, and things like this. And by training it on exactly the type of data we get in reality, we can take this and then push just that, and then we can get these lovely height maps out of it that tell us a really realistic distribution. You can see here, this is the height map, so the black areas are low. You can see all the little rivers and valleys. And this has
infinite
zero
money,
art
infinite
input,
time. You can do
from this
anything.
image, which is a very nice result. It's early days. This is based on something called a custom diffusion neural network. It's, like I said, it's pre-trained on Earth data, and it's been built up in patches so that it just doesn't become too expensive to build. And the little circular patches get like added together, and to avoid any seams in the image. And then just to help you visualize it, I've just put some colorization on it to show you where like snow and beaches might be, and just wrapped it around a planet to give you a better sense so it doesn't look quite so abstract. Yeah, but this is very early days, this stuff, but we're hopeful this will be.
Very little prototype, many improvements to make, spherical projection, expand the training data, include lunar and Martian data, implement machine learning super resolution techniques to increase detail. We'll continue to navigate or investigate how machine learning can be integrated into our workflow and pipeline. And a good thing to note is they may choose to drop it. Like, this is not a guarantee they'll be using machine learning. They're just looking into it, R&D. So Nutella, correct. This is a planet, a procedural planet. In every sense of the word. It is a machine learning generated procedurally planet, not tiled, not painted. Artists have much less say, it seems like, in this. I imagine there'll be one of the things they'll include is ways of going in and editing that height map directly. Much like this. I can say, hey, I would like to I like this map, but I'd like to actually, where is it? Height map. I'd like to change the height map, and I can say, hey, I'd actually like to make sure that I can edit what I need. And then I can say, well, I'd like actually this entire, no, I wanted this one. I can say, hey, this actually needs to be cut off. I can up the power, the radius. So I just want basically just this to be just its own little island here. So I imagine they add tools like that. And like, hey, there's not enough mountains here, so yeah, do whatever. Yeah, I imagine they do a lot of that. Again, we're not there yet.
Help in the future.
But
How
yeah,
we build
no
things
tiles,
quickly
all
and
one,
efficiently.
and done.
Thank you.
I hope we don't have to wait till SystemCon to figure out how this is going.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about today is our Gen 12 renderer and Vulkan. This has been ongoing for quite some
Do they say here yet? Ray tracing, new share types, they don't say it yet.
time.
They'll say it
Taking
soon.
a lot longer than we would have liked, but we're finally getting to the end of this long journey. For those who don't know, the reason this was being implemented is largely for performance. We're going to be getting at least 2 times better performance on our CPU submission for rendering, which is often the bottleneck for the game, so that will directly, hopefully, translate to performance improvements. We also get better control of memory with advanced GPU features like resizable bar, and it also opens the door for some things like ray tracing and new mesh shaders. So we've got a video of a Vulkan running, that's live captured, so I can't remember which ship is this, but it's yeah, it's all working fine now. There's a
like
couple
how
of
the
hitches
devs
and
don't know what
performance, so we
ships
can't quite release
are,
it yet, but
what-
we're looking into them, the last few performance issues and stability issues, and hopefully we'll release them
I think it's
soon.
hilarious.
So, like I said, the one thing, or one of the things we really were interested in by implementing Vulkan was to get support for new hardware features, and one of the big ones was ray tracing. So with that, I want to hand you over to Ben, who's going to talk about some of our lighting research.
I think it's great that like this game's so big that they can't possibly know everything. Like they work in their little
Hi,
box.
I'm Ben Parry, and this is Global Illumination.
And like, so even in the ray tracing demo, which we'll get to next week, after they concluded the presentation, there were dev teams inside CHE calling Benoit saying, "Hey, we want the demo to work on our features." Not even other devs knew about that demo, and they actually, so that demo didn't exist apparently until the weekend of SystemCon, or the week of SystemCon. They apparently put that whole demo together, just to present a working version, a visual version of server meshing. So they basically built it in a week. And so other devs are like, that is so good, we want it so we can work on our features and just validate that it works with server meshing.
So, as Ali just said, moving over to the Vulkan renderer, and now that that's fully online,
This could
we've
exponentially
got
speed up player creation.
access to
Absolutely,
hardware ray
like-
tracing on
And
the GPUs that have
It all depends on like how easy it is for the artist to do their work. Like, is it harder for them to influence how the planets are made, or is it easier for them to influence it, because right now they paint the texture and the mountains, and they have very good control over how the planet looks. In the demo they showed, it doesn't look like they have a lot of easy ways to make a lot of. Well, I guess they could edit the height map itself, and that's not hard. That's just MS Paint painting. And the fun part about that is, depending on how long it takes to get the machine learning done, the machine learning output, they could put in like hundreds of height maps a day. Like, basically, they could have an entire just workflow that just like you throw in a height map and it shows up at the other end on a planet. And you can just like tweak all the atmospheric settings and biome settings. And again, we have real-time biome, so it just does the biome stuff. And so you basically, within a day, again, depending on how long some of the rendering takes, could have a planet and then validate it and say, well, I don't like that area, so we're going to tweak this part of the height map, run it through again. And the height map, like you said, was just a black and white image. So let's just say that. Why? Oh, okay. I see. Style. We will go back to monochrome. I don't know why it says we have them on there still. Oh, I get creation. There we go. That's why I was doing wrong. There we go. Errors, biomes, height map. There we go. So basically, it's just this that they're editing. And then they could say, hey, I want something here, and send it through it again, and just get a revalidated height map, and then map it to a planet. And you could do that so many times, depending on how fast the machine learning is.
Support for it. And the best thing to do with hardware ray tracing would be to create a new update.
You can also tweak the machine learning, the way the machine learning works, using certain constraints, so that's not totally automatic. You can also direct its operation, and then there's manual editing, so there is still control. But I imagine because of it doing the geology, erosion, and things, they're going to want to do all the editing before they hand it to the machine for the machine learning bit. Directed in and adding constraints, pre-baking it, I think, yeah, absolutely. But I'm pretty sure, like, from what he showed, I'm pretty sure they want to do all the touching of the height map and the biome placement before they get the output. Because a lot like over here, this is all procedural, but when I touch it, I got it all messed up over here, and it's not quite procedural. And like, there's a mountain right here, and that's not how it's supposed to go. And the mountain like peaked right here, but there would be an entire fault line. So where's the fault line go? It should all be a ridge, kind of like that. You end up with some of the geography not making sense. Potentially. This is all very like looking through like grease-covered glass. Like, there's a lot of maybe possibilities in here. Either way, I cannot wait to see what comes out of it. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal just to see it.
Global illumination system for us to use. Now, I'm here to give you a fairly early preview of the work that we've done so far. But first off, I'm just going to simplify some things and ask, what is global illumination? Well, you can break the lighting in a game down to 3 components. First off, you've got direct lighting. That's not global illumination, but that's the sun, lights in the level, that kind of thing. Next up, you've got diffuse global illumination. Now that's like a whole hemisphere, like a soft lighting that affects that takes from the entire scene and lights up the pixel. And then finally, you've got glossy GI and reflections. That's like your shiny surface glints, your mirror reflections, that kind of thing. And now all of those combine together to form one glorious penguin. Now,
Nenaz, isn't it a big deal that they've developed ray tracing that doesn't need ray tracing hardware? I thought the whole point was you needed the hardware. That was so no. That is the best marketing of NVIDIA. They've been doing ray tracing since Pixar started. Back when Pixar was a George Lucas reject computer, they've been able to do ray tracing. The whole thing is NVIDIA did the work to say we can actually attempt to do this in real time, and then their marketing did the whole NVIDIA ray tracing thing, the RTX on thing, and they did a wonderful job in brainwashing all the people who didn't actually know what the tech was to thinking that ray tracing is a NVIDIA invention. They did a great job at that. Like, I say it jokingly, but honestly, they did. The marketing team at NVIDIA nailed RTX. Great job. I hate what you've done with the place. But everyone else was just nodding their head like it was normal. I felt like I was crazy pills or something. Yeah, ray tracing is one of those things that, like, I do appreciate NVIDIA for pushing so hard to make the entire gaming industry look at ray tracing. And I'm so happy that, like, Nanite exists now. Not Nanite, Lumen for the Unreal Engine. And AMD has its version that works on both. Like, ray tracing is actually a thing, and it doesn't need to be from NVIDIA, which is the best part. But we still are many years off of a fully ray traced, like, however many pixels you have on your screen, ray traced scene. We're still long off from that.
Now, for the rest of this presentation, we're specifically talking about this guy, the diffuse penguin. Glossy GI has actually been disabled in all the videos. Even the old system videos don't show the glossy GI here, just to aid the comparison. First off, we've got a video from Chris Campbell, who's going to make us look cool.
Current cube map lighting. New ray trace lighting. Okay, all that diffuse over here. I love that so much. God, that's my favorite. That's my favorite shot. Ah, so I've been lied to my whole life. Again, great. Just add that to the pile of corporate deception I've been subject to. Yep. Heck, Ray Trace was the original, like, how to make graphics. It was literally drawing lines. That's how you get the wireframe. It's just so good. Wait for it. Oh. It's just so good. Before, after. It's just so good. It really sells distance. It's one of those things, like, in a scene like this, you know, you have bounce everywhere. You have a pretty even, especially in the this one. You know, everything's really well lit just from the bounce lighting, but when you go to a space that's this big, the light can't bounce that far. It's not getting the right angles. It's not getting the not energy. It has the energy. It just doesn't have the right angles. It's not bouncing that direction. So it just sells distance into these places so much better. RT is HD, totally not necessary, but once you have it, there's no going back. Yep. It's not one of those things that's going to ruin your gaming life. Because you're going to play a game with amazing ray tracing, and then we're going to go back to, like, not ray trace games. We're getting there. Like more and more games are getting on the train, so I'm happy to finally be able to have a game that I can play that's fully ray traced. Not fully ray traced, but like has good amount of specifically global illumination, which is so good looking. If that's not a good like ad for windows and spaceships, then I don't know what is. Better keep that. Better keep that. So good. Hey, oh, we're not halfway. We're a third in.
So next up, the boring or the interesting bit. How are we doing it? How does the tech work? I'm just going to dig into that just a little bit. So we're closely based on AMD's recent paper, GI 1.0. We're probably going to build on top of that, but at the moment we're quite close to it. We ray trace against a simplified world so that we get like smoother lighting for the, since it's a diffuse scene, we want a sort of diffuse, smooth signal. This also means that we get more rays per millisecond, which is always good. And we do generate a lot of probes. So the new system is generating, well, for comparison, the old probe was about 1 probe per room, and the new system is about 25,000 probes that are all on screen at the same time. And we're going to see that now. So here's a scene that I've dramatized a little bit just to give trouble to the old lighting system. And this is what the ray tracing sees. So it's a simplified single color per object kind of thing. But then we've also got this kind of a 3D dictionary of average light values so that the light is kind of shared over things in a similar area.
Yeah, I also have trouble
going back to
understanding
the scene,
quite.
this is the old system. So you'd render a single image from the center of the room, blur it, and then slap it onto the entire scene. Now, as you can see,
I'm going to try and explain this as
and we
best
do
I can.
So here's a scene that I've dramatized a little bit just to give trouble to the old lighting.
Okay, so this is how the scene would look like in the current game, right here.
System.
This is how the scene looks for starting to compute the ray traced version of it. So as I said, everything to the ray traced version is just a single color on everything.
And this is what the ray tracing sees. So it's a simplified single color per object kind of thing.
So we're only just starting to calculate the ray trace right here.
But then we've also got this kind of a 3D dictionary of average light values.
And so this is just to look up the light coming out of areas to figure out where
kind of
what's
shared
happening
over things
with the lighting.
in a similar area.
So we have color and we have light.
So going back to the scene, this is the old system. So you'd render a
So now
single
we're back to the old one.
image from the center of the room, blur it, and then slap it onto the entire scene.
So as he's going to explain very soon, this takes an average value of where the probe is, and it's very important where the probe is, and plastered it on literally everything.
Now, as you can see, like the middle of the scene is about the right lighting, but everything else has got the middle of the scene's lighting. Like these red lights at the sides, they're basically drowned out by the table bounce that somehow made it across the room to them. So we want to replace that system with 25,000
So notice
across the
how
room to them.
in this scene, this is all blue, and over here is blue, but the light is supposed to be coming down out of the center bit onto the table. So to get over there is quite a trip, and that shouldn't happen. So when they switch on the 25,000 probes, notice there's no blue over here anymore. These are probes all over the scene.
With 25,000 probes, each one of them only providing light to a small area around themselves. And then we interpolate that to provide like a smooth bounce.
And
you
they
can see
smooth
already
out
in the distance,
the 25,000
like the red
probes.
light is really bouncing up there. And then we add a screen space occlusion pass just to tidy up the edges on things.
And then here
And
is
there
what
the
the ray
final
tracer
composite.
sees on the side. So you don't get all that, like this is not blown out, that's not blown out on the ray tracer side. You don't get blue plastered all over the walls because you're taking both the where the lighting is in a 3D space, and you have those not one probes but 25,000 probes to share the where the light's actually going.
The final composite.
And this is going to work great with HDR.
Nice. So, what else does it do? Well, because it's real-time generation, it means we can do a real-time bounce, and we can do that with quite small areas. You can get like a really vibrant bounce that picks up off small objects in the scene. Ooh. And that means that the art team can really lean into like strong local variation on color. As again, we will see. So we'll do a side-by-side comparison on this one. As you can already see, like the spotlight's really like throwing stuff into the scene. This is just one light in the room. And we did have live updating, as you can see in the old system, but it was designed for like time of day changes rather than this continuous smooth view.
Green bounce looks great.
And finally, it means that we can do things like
how many people are
glowing
going to leave
surfaces
stuff
can
around
just
their ship to get
illuminate the
bounce
world
lighting
without having to add special lights to fake it.
Star System problems.
So yeah, there's two really common cases in Star Citizen particularly that this is going to help with. First off, cockpit brightness. We capture at the moment the at the moment we capture that cockpit probe in a setup scene, and then we don't update it as you're flying around. So you're not going to get the sky color in, and you're not going to get the ground color in. And then we've got the opposite problem that I don't have a picture for this, but cargo bays, sometimes they're light, you land somewhere dark, you open up the doors, and now you've just got this weird little light room with nothing spilling out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, let's have a video. Oh yeah, so this is the old system. The sun's working, but you can see there's no sky, there's no ground lighting. By the way, I've turned off a lot of the cockpit lights so that you can see this. And then in the new one, you can already see the skylight is kind of helping a little. But then as you turn over, you get all the ground lighting.
It's so good. First Galaxy problems. Yes.
And yet there's more. See, one of the concerns we had was that we didn't want to create a two-tier system. If people have got hardware ray tracing and it's working for them, that's great. But you can't really have the art team optimizing or scene for one type of lighting and then having to optimize it for another type of lighting and having to trade off decisions about the two of them. So what we've been experimenting with is trying to create a new low bar that's higher than the old low bar, as well as creating a new high bar. And the idea for this is basically to take that single room environment probe system that we have been using, update it so that we can do live relighting on that. And then
sounds more Star Wars-y for
slot
sure.
that in where the ray tracing would be, while still keeping all of the other stuff, like the 25,000 probes and all that kind of stuff. Can look at the old system, and we kind of Frankenstein them together. So
yeah.
I'll show you what we've got so far for this.
It's one of the reasons
that
the
old one and the
ray tracing in like competitive shooters is such a divisive conversation because it gives you an advantage, whether it's reflections that you can see around corners or just proper lighting where it's supposed to be. It could be an advantage in in places. So if you have hardware that supports it in a competitive game, like there are reasons to use it. I forget what game it was, but there was one game where you could literally see around corners because of the ray tracing, just looking through mirrors and windows and things. I don't know if it was PUBG or something. I forget what. I don't know what it actually was, but it was a competitive shooter. I know Battlefield did it. And so it's just like, yeah, you take a performance hit, but you also get these like awareness benefits. It's very interesting to like hear the conversation in that. But for a sim game, nothing but wins. Nothing but wins. It's amazing.
The new one so that you can see the problems. Like just it's overly lit, let's be honest. And now this is what Star Citizen would have looked like if we released it on the PS1. The sharp-eyed among you may have noticed also the ship is missing, but you know we can't do dynamic objects in this. You'll be surprised. It doesn't seem to mind. And there we have software GI in the middle, which is, yeah, like I say, it was using the same 25,000 probe system, but not...
So you had this... Okay, so... Oh, wow, that looks a lot better. It fills the space a lot better than this does. So just right here. And then hardware just gets that contrast a bit higher. It's a little more realistic on where the light goes.
Having to use any kind of hardware ray tracing. As you can see, it's not a perfect match. It's not identical, but it's a lot more dynamic than the old system.
Yeah, no, I like it.
And finally...
Onward to the future!
And finally, I'm just going to show you a to-do list here. I don't have pictures because it's stuff we've not done. Glossy reflections. Obviously, we want to complete the picture, and for that, we need to handle glossy reflections. That's self-explanatory, really. I don't know what to say about that. Secondly, you've only seen it on opaque surfaces so far. The next step is to extend this so that it can support glass and water and all the other transparent things in the game. And beyond that, we've obviously got fog, we've got other atmospherics. We want to expand GI to make sure that it affects everything smoothly and equally. And the final thing is a Star Citizen thing. We've got giant scenes, we've got a ridiculous scale on some things, and we've got plans to make sure that this GI extends to handle that full scale. Anyway, that's all I've got to tell you now. I've been Ben Parry. Next up.
All right, so it has been 3 hours. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it here. We will be back. When do I come back? Tuesday, I think. I think I don't have another stream until Tuesday, which I really hate. And I'll see if I can fix that. Maybe I'll do a Saturday, but just start later, possibly. Not this Saturday. I'll have to see for next Saturday. Because I want to get something else between... Because I do the roundtable, but that's not really a normal stream. I don't think I want to stream after the roundtable either. But I'm getting a headache, so we're going to have to cut this short. We will come back on Tuesday and finish up the rest of this. Is the ray tracing demo in here? Oh yeah, the ray tracing demo is in here. So I look forward to that ray tracing demo on Tuesday. I guess we're going through these pretty thoroughly. I'm going to try and cut these up. Maybe I'm going to look into cutting these up. There we go. That's how you say it. And releasing them as a more concise video. Assuming I had anything good to say during this. And we'll do that. So let us transition to that. And I'm going to look for somebody that I follow or somebody that you guys want to raid on Twitch, and we'll get that done. Nobody that I want to raid is actually doing the Star Citizening. So I don't know. You guys got anyone you guys want raided? How many people do we have on the Twitch side of things? We have 5 people, so yeah, there's plenty of you. What do you guys think? Yeah, raid, and we'll say a nice goodbye to the YouTube people and give them some special after show. Let's see. Raid channel, there we go. I want someone smaller. Like Zero State's going Verity and Uber Nerd is going, so let's see. Let's roll a die and see 1, 2, or 3. First 1, 2, or 3 we get. We got a 1. All right. Uber Nerd is. So we're going to be rating Uber Nerd. He's doing some Star Citizen stuff, so go say hi to him. And we'll see you all laters. On Friday, we'll be finishing up the panel, and then we will be going into the next panel. So thank you all for coming, and we'll be talking to the YouTube people for a little bit after the raid, so stay tuned for that, guys, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Okay, so that should be done there. Hopefully. Let's cut that. Oop. Cut that. Go here. There we go. Oh,
let's do that thing.
All right. So thank you all the YouTube peoples.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how. I want to start splitting up because I can't rate on YouTube, but and we'll actually just transition back to here for the YouTube people. Piece 07? Oh, Piece 07? I really don't know what to do for this for the YouTube side because like Twitch has its raid thing and I can, hand those views off, but YouTube really doesn't, so I don't know what I want to do for like the after shows or the like how to transition from streaming to not streaming on YouTube. So if you guys have opinions about it, go to the Discord link that keeps popping up in chat. I'll probably start a conversation over there with the at least the supporters, at most just everyone on the Discord, talking about what we should do for YouTube stuff. Wow, Nerd is on a really pretty spot on Microtech. Looks amazing. But yeah, we'll also start talking about it in chat a whole lot more. But yeah, it has been fun. I will be back on Friday. Thank you all for showing up and just watching till the end. And we'll finish up these panels and we'll try and get through the next one in not 3 more hours. Hopefully it will take us only at most 2 hours to get through the next hour like 10 minutes or whatever for the panel. Anyway, thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday, or well, actually we'll be streaming Sunday for the Star Citizen Content Creators Roundtable. Also, I'll be on Paul's thing. What's it called? I'll be on Paul's thing on Saturday. So, let's sing the last panel. So, it's like Sunday morning, EST. I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you so much. And as always, be kind. Bye, everyone.